Assalamu National Secretary. You all may be seated. Want to make sure we keep the flow going. Kind of inspired me. You know, just to let you know that we're never alone. If we have any visitors here today, I want to welcome you. You're home whether you know it or not. And if you don't know it, keep coming and you will find out that you really are home. You're not going to have no place better than being with your brothers that's in the know. Those of us that don't know and don't have no will to know, I don't know what to do for you. It's the wrong, you living at the wrong time. However, just to keep this going, I know what everything the secretary said, it allows you to reach to the farthest thinking of your mind to really identify, to put me into that kind of place. And then you actually see a person standing before you looking like you. It's almost like, well, what's in your mind don't fit what you see. You see? However, it's the unseen is where the power is. You see me, but you don't. This is a body that I chose for myself to be as one, or to be all three together. The mental, the spiritual, and physical. You're looking at it as one. However, what I do, you can't see. You only see the evidence of it. Brother Secretary Abbas, we've been together for some time. I've been on him, beating him with a sledgehammer and everything else. And I knew what he could do, and I know what you all can do. It's not what you tell me you can do and what you tell me you can't do. I know what you can do. If you just do it. And if you stop looking at me in the unseen all the time and see me make this unseen the seen for a while. Today I want to show you, or I want to point out to you some of the things that has already been documented that we should go over more than once to make sure that in our own minds you are never alone. You know, most of the time when there is a sister that is to be my wife, and there is no sister that is to be my wife that I don't know before they do. It's not that I just go and get somebody else. Well, I'm lonely. I think I go find somebody. I don't do that. Matter of fact, I'll be running from them. I do. Otherwise, I take it to the last second. Well, we'll get back on the subject. However, just to let you know, you're never alone. These are things that we gave the messenger so he would give us to us as a message, and then we had it wrote down by his son. I think we encouraged him, or Herbert Muhammad, to make sure that these words were put in book form so that you and I may read them and go over them after we take the messenger. So you don't have no excuse, none whatsoever. It's not like, well, the messenger's gone, I lost my lessons, so I can't get back into them. You can forget that. That's 5 books of Moses or the messenger. We've made it very easy for you to get since 1980. You could have gotten them from Minister Farrakhan. Now you can get it from us, or you can just get them from some people that wanted to make money. So the words has always been here. And this book here, I would suggest that you all go back in and start reading it again. The Fall of America. Not of the black man, because we voluntarily fell or took our fall 50,000 years ago. I hope this is making sense to you. Well, I want to let you know, according to what's already written, some of the things are how we do things that you don't see, or you see it and you don't pay no attention to it. Those of you, especially here in heaven, especially here, you didn't pick the place out here in Kansas City. Most of you all are imported here. But it was not your will that we be here. So since it wasn't and you were here, it must be someone else's will that had more power than yours and that attracted you. So you here. Now if you here, what you going to do since you got here? And what you going to look for since you're here? Are you going to look for Allah? No. You're supposed to have already found him before you got here. However, you're supposed to look for the evidence that confirms that you're actually here and that this is where he wants you to be. Well, where are you going to look for this evidence at? If you don't see it in the behavior of your brother and sister and in the community that's around you or at large, you're not going to see it. I'm going to say it again. The only way that I would know that I'm being successful in the plan is that I got someone to talk back to me the way that I'm talking to them. Someone to do to me as the way I'm doing to them. Then I know I'm being successful. If I came here in Kansas City and got things started, and then you come because I came, then I know I got somebody with me. So I know my plan is working. Now, if I'm only here and I'm jumping up and down and nothing bears witness, nobody comes, but I'm here all the time, something is wrong. Would you agree? Yes. Well, when I see that, the king and I are constantly going over signs that the scientist has told us about when we were in our ignorance concerning this. We were in our nature, but we wasn't in the knowledge. Now we're coming into the knowledge, and we're looking at the signs that were left from the scientists. Not so much from Allah, but from the scientists, so that we can be who we are, and therefore free you to be who you are. All right. Now, the more people come and do what they're supposed to do according to the rhythm of the motion here, lets us know what sign is prevalent at the time. There's nothing you're doing that we haven't already been told about. There's nothing you're doing. There's nothing that we're building that we haven't been told about. There's no wife that comes to me that has not been shown to me. Before they get there, before I even see them, before I know their name, everything is laid out. This is the way God does things well in advance. And to make sure that we're successful. To make sure that we're successful. The ones that are operating in the unseen, like you go out and work during the day and your children don't see you working. However, because you do that and come home and you bring the fruit from your labor home, they get the extension of life. They eat. They're sheltered. They are clothed, but they don't see you doing that. The same thing it is with the scientists. They have so much respect for me and those that are with me, they stay away from us as far as being in our presence physically. Because it's like, you're going to do something wrong. So why should they correct you when they have someone that is not too far from you that can do it? It's almost like the mother correcting the child instead of the father. Although the father may be just sitting there, not saying anything. And the mother be tearing the boy up. But the father don't say anything. This is the same way it is with the scientists. Those of you that are responsible for others' behavior that I have given post to, you should really start looking back at the messenger's literature. Of course you listen to me. However, it's just the way that the secretary stated. The fire that you are now witnessing that's coming from me, God started from the messenger. Are y'all listening? Yeah. We used to call it banking. When he was speaking that out, I've done it several times because I watched my father do it. And those of you that are young and don't know what that is, it's much like this. The messenger came and started a fire. And I mean a big fire. The world itself could not put it out. And they had to, against their own will, against their own character, they had to bear witness that this little man is the most powerful man we ever seen on the planet, including Jesus. Jesus never did what Elijah did. Not the Jesus of 2,000 years ago. Elijah came in and stopped a man from killing you just from words. He made a man start to look at his behavior in the way of being civilized just from words. He took us out of the mud and put us working, doing something for ourselves just from words. Nobody did that. And no one could supersede the words. So therefore, he produced a powerful son of truth, a mighty flame. And then he left. Or we took him. You follow what I'm saying? Yes, sir. And in his absence, I had no refueling. When I was to be refueled, I was to lay back on the coals again. Meaning I had to go back to this. If I didn't know where it was at, we had a minister, a reminder to let us know where the coals were. Is that right? Yeah. And if you were laid back on the coals, and then we got some new people that don't know anything about heat. They're placed on it. And because they're new, and the agitation from the new and some from the old caused the flame to come back up. But it's got something to burn. You think about it. It's got something to burn, meaning that we got some people that need to be purified. And fire purifies everything. It takes it back to its original essence, and that's what God started with, the essence. What it multiplied or magnified itself to be is only the illusion of what it wanted you to see. But if you take it back to its original course, or the beginning of it, it's almost like you got to take a magnifying scope to see it. Is that right? Well, I wanted to say a few things, read a couple of things out of the fall of America, just to let us know we're not by ourselves. And I have, you heard the secretary speak, and he's getting better and better, which I've told him when I was living with him some time ago. When he does really stand up, Minister Farrakhan can't touch him. And I'm not talking about Lewis, I'm talking about the scientist Farrakhan. Can't touch him. It's one thing to live with a person, and it's another thing to know of the person. I have a lot of knowledge. I mean, I really do. I really, really do. However, if you're living with your wife, or you all living together as husband and wife, and you have your children, I don't know them the way you know them. I may know the essence of them. However, the character in which they are expressing that essence, I don't know it until you bring them before me. Then I can read them, but you don't have to read them because they're with you all the time. Farrakhan, the scientist, wasn't with the messenger all the time. However, he knew the laws. He knew the principles. He knew what Allah wanted him to get across to you. And he did it. But he didn't know the messenger right up. Wasn't necessary. However, Abbas Rasul saw the messenger every day. Somewhat was afraid of him because he thought the messenger was looking in on what he was doing. He wasn't all the way right. However, the essence of him was right enough for him to be here today speaking. I don't know of no other official that was with the messenger that carried that kind of power and weight that is with us other than him. And believe me, those of you that listen to this tape, the number one thing I always start off with, you will not get rich here from me. From money. Not now. Now, if you can make it through what I put you through, that very well may happen that you get rich from money. I'm going to make you rich here. I'm almost sure that not any of you all have experienced real fullness and freedom. Like when you eat, you're really hungry. Most of you never get really hungry because you eat so often. However, if you've ever missed enough meals when you worked and the work was right, and then you start to feel hungry, but the work was so gratifying, you kept doing the work until you got to a certain level of it, or you finished it, and by the time you finished and time you cleaned up and everything, you was a little tired, but you were hungry. And you ate until you got full. The fullness was in one spot. It satisfied the hunger. However, when you get full from the spirit or from the reality of your own existence, you will feel from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet everywhere. Healed and you are complete. I mean, actually complete. It's so much so that there is nothing that exists that you feel threatened from. There is no power that can come against you that if it comes, it has to come to serve you. How many of you felt that? I don't think very much. Have you? Well, that's what I'm going to cause you to feel. because it's going to be real. That's what I feel. You got to do the same thing. Now, Brother Abbas will be going around to certain temples and certain organizations and speaking. We have one other one here that will be just as good. He got the ability to will a little bit more, and that's Brother Gregory. You know, the brother's very good. In other words, he's like one of those coals that's been laying, you know, it's not red. You know, you should go ahead and when you bank it and you go back at night or in the morning, get ready to start the far back, they look white and ashy like they're almost gone. You know, all you do is fan it a little bit or take the poker and poke it and steer it around and you lay something on it, you start seeing it glowing. And then what's laying on it starts to popping. And then before you see it, you got the real glow under it. And when that starts like that, then you start to see the flame come. And all that's sitting on top of it got to come alive. You got to do something. Well, that's the same way it is with the ones that came out of the first. And I'm the hottest flame. So if you come to me, you're going to do something. Well, just to let you know again, I'll go over this again, and then we'll go with some questions. I certainly appreciate Brother Secretary coming alive. At least he has the appearance of it. I hope that I'm not being duped or we. The man got too much power to be wasted. I got a disturbing call yesterday. I think it was yesterday. That some of our things had been taken or stolen. For someone to do that here in heaven, or someone that knows me and do that, you are really, really playing with fire. You really are. I understand ignorance. I understand it. I understand mercy. I understand it. However, I also understand time. There's a time for everything. Even a time to steal, a time to lie, a time to kill. It was 6,000 years of it. That's over. So if you're going to walk in with that residue on you, and if anyone with me or with us or that comes around us and have any idea of us and what we do, you're playing with real fire. When you do that with the devil, the open enemy, you may be playing with death. However, with me, death just isn't death. It's the way you die. Am I frightening you?
No, sir.
I can't do that, can I? Just wondering. We don't, it's very seldom, I just really don't like to say no. Even when a person is doing wrong and they know that I know that they know that they're wrong. Or they're lying to me. I don't chase it. Because I'm holding the end of the rope. You can just go and go and go. And when the rope runs out and you want to know what stopped you, why you can't go no further, I got it. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Nobody gets away. Now, until the rope runs out, you got time or distance to make the necessary correction. And if it's made, you got no problem for me. I just say, hey, good for you. Go for it. But if you still think you're pulling the wool over my eyes and you're going to do this and you're going to do that and nobody see you, let me read something to you, if I may. You know, I found this out from experience. And as you grow in doing right, or shall I say, as you do right, you will grow. And the things that you were wondering about today, tomorrow you will know. You know, it was well documented, and I think the messenger said the same thing, that before he fully realized that Allah in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad was with him, when he didn't see him, It was 7 years he ran. 7 years. Because he didn't actually see Master Prophet Muhammad standing in front of him or walking beside him. So whatever he was confronted with all the brothers and all of the enemies, the hypocrites that was trying to physically kill him, he was running away from them. In the course of him running, certain things would happen every so often to let him know, I don't know what you're running for. I got your back. And he kept doing it until he finally realized, I'm not running no more. Allah is with me. So he stopped running, made the announcement. Let it be known that mud is not running no more. And he lived. It wasn't like King. King got shot. Didn't no bullet get close to Elijah. They found a rifle across the street from where he lived, with the bullet still there. But the person that put it there and planned to carry his plan out became so frightened he left everything and left the evidence. I want to let you know for real, because you're working side by side with each other every day. You're doing this every day. Pardon me for a moment. My wife didn't clean my glasses. You do this every day, and when it gets to be like, well, the work is so important. The work is only something for you to do to show your relationship to your brother. That's all. It's an opportunity for you to show what you would do if you're in charge of what you, in someone else or a particular thing. That's all it's for. If I can build a ship out of black ants, I most certainly can build heaven out of animals. You don't make silk, but I got a worm that does. Is that right? Yes, sir. You think you make money. But we make the trees and the ink. Then we gave our enemy, the brain to make a dye. Let me show you this, if I may, to let us all know that I'm not just starting this. This has been with us all along. This is titled, the chapter is 58, titled The Mother Plane. Have you all heard of that before? Yes, sir. Do you ever think about it? Yes, sir. It reads here, the mother plane was made to destroy this world of evil and to show the wisdom and mighty power of the God who came to destroy an old world and set up a new world. Does that mean anything to you? Yes, sir. I'm going to start having some classes at my home to bring this back into our minds again, the fullness of it, because we're going to start seeing it very shortly. I'm going to read this again so you'll get the full impact of it. The mother plane was made, past tense, to destroy this world present, of evil, and to show the wisdom and mighty power of the God who came to destroy an old world and set up a new one. I'm constantly talking about new. Is that right? Yes, sir. And I hope I'm doing it in such a way where I don't have to speak about the old too much, because I'm destroying that. It's not really worth mentioning too much unless I'm explaining something to you. Now, this is what they say, this is why the mother plane was made. Let's just keep on a little more. Why should God make such a sign of his power to destroy a nation? Because this is the final destruction of that people who have opposed God and his purpose and aims for justice and righteousness. I'm going to read that again. And you place yourself. Are you with me? Yes, sir. No, I'm not asking you. You ask this to yourself. Because this is a question here asked. And it applies not just to white people. It don't say white people. Listen how it reads here. Why should God make such a sign of his power to destroy a nation? Because this is the final destruction of that people who have opposed God in his purpose and aims for justice and righteousness. So if you're black and you're opposing this, let me read on. The mother plane, according to what has been described of it by the devil scientists, is capable of not only staying out for a long period of time, but it is also capable of eluding the scientists. They want to attack and destroy it. But if the plane did get close enough to attempt to carry out this purpose, it would be destroyed instead. The white man has learned, past tense, that this is not a plane to be played with. Planes come out of the mother plane. Let me read this to you. If I can find it. Okay. Now, this is to verify that we are never alone, especially when it comes to this plan. Are you listening? Yes, sir. Now listen at this. There are scientists on the mother plane who know what you are thinking before the thought materializes. Shall I say that again? Read it again. To let you know, whatever you can think of, you're either permitted to think it or you can't think it, because someone is directing their thoughts or stopping them. Listen to what it reads here. There are scientists on the mother plane who know what you are thinking before the thought materializes. In other words, if you're going to think something and you think you really got it, if you think it, they let you have it. They let the thought continue to be until you get it. Or else they can stop it before it materializes. And you ever have a thought that you thinking, you give it, tell somebody something, you say, I lost it. You say you lost it. Maybe somebody took it. And if that's the case, it means that somebody's got more power over your own thoughts than you do. Is that right? Yes. Now, if someone wanted to attack the mother plane, forget the mother plane in that sense. If someone wanted to attack heaven, you here in heaven, even if it's someone that's with us, they wanted to attack us. Not necessarily come out with guns or words. However, everything you do that's right, they come along and undo it. That's an attack. That's an attack of the worst kind. Because now you got to go to work and play Columbo to find out, to make sure who's doing this. Now you're looking at everybody cross-eyed. Now they're offended because you're looking at them. Why would they look at me? They should know I wouldn't do it. No, we don't know. We know you shouldn't. Are you all listening? Yes, sir. The mother plane can hide behind stars and make herself invisible to the eye because she does not have to wait on a power from the earth. She can produce her own power and go wherever she desires to go in space. I thought I would just read a few lines to you out of The Fall of America so that you all would know that we are not by ourselves. How much more emphasis should be put on a person that is righteous than what they put on this plane? If they made a plane to show the power of Allah, just to show some of his power, well then what can Allah do? Right? So if you all are working here, and if you think you're by yourself, or if you think you're not making progress, or if you think the captain or lieutenant is on you too much, that's because you ain't thinking. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Y'all will? Yes, Well, I just thought I'd read that to you and let you know that we are never, never alone. And to go back and to think about the love that we have for each other, or the ones that the scientists do love, which is myself and those that are with me. Nobody's going to get away with anything. However, you most certainly will be rewarded. Most certainly will be rewarded. Some of us are being rewarded now, but you don't see it as a reward. Most of the time when we give a reward, it's so great, you have to grow into the greatness of the reward. You know, we like to do things, well, when we give you something, we don't have to come back next week and give it to you. It's so great, we really don't have to give you that no more. You got it. I know, and maybe you all heard me say this before when they were telling me, and I asked them, well, do y'all have any, I'm going to get some money. Y'all got some money for me? They said, oh, yes. You know, we got the money already laid up for you. Then we asked, Master Prophet Muhammad's got something real great to give you. English language cannot describe it. Now, that's what the scientists are telling me. They can't describe it. It's so great in this language. I said, well, what, has he got some money for me? Some more money? They said, you'll never need no more of that. It's not money. Once you get it, that's it. You'll never need no more. This is what you all are working with. This is who you with. So if you can read this about a mother plane or by some scientist that's so wise and can do that, they're not wiser than you. They may be exercising more wisdom than you now. But you're living now and they're staying away from you until you grow. And by you growing, some of the things they hear me tell you, they're hearing it for the first time. Hope you listen. For the first time, they're hearing it. However, they can do something about it. Those of you that were with the messenger, and we heard the messenger say that the scientists can tune in on you all anytime they get ready. And Master Prophet Muhammad can tune in on them anytime he get ready. But they couldn't tune in on him anytime they got ready. Now you got the real God here now. I don't mind you tuning in on me if you can really do it. Because you'll be happy. I just want to let you know you're never alone. Even if you get class F, you ain't alone. You get class F and go out and just, do your thing. Leave us alone. And the idea of what we're doing, leave it alone. Nothing happens. But if you think that you're alone, nobody with you, you start talking about us real bad. You start stopping people from coming to this. And you'll see, how did they know that? We'll stop you. Now, if you can believe that what I just read is true, then you can see the success in what you're doing before it's finished. You can see who and what is behind you to make sure that you are successful. If a plane can be made to go anywhere in space, anywhere it desires to go in space, that takes knowledge. This man here that you think that's got so much, he barely can go 120 miles off the planet. If he goes further than that, he's not going, he's sending a probe. Because he can't take what it takes for him to survive with his knowledge, his food and his water and his fuel, and go stay out there for a long time, long distance, and then come back. He ain't gonna make it. Just want you to think about it. You'd be surprised what power you got if you start to employ it in the right manner. Do we have any visitors here? 3 visitors? You a visitor? You're not with us yet? What's stopping you? In other words, look at it this way. Your father is home. And there's someone in his home that may not feel welcome. Just inquisitive. But since you're in the home, I want you to feel welcome. I want you to know that you're welcome. If it's my home and you get in, and you constantly come in, well, then we start making a spot for you because we see you so much. You know, you bring a little happiness to us because we see you. Why not take advantage of it? If it's something that you need to know, I'm here, ask me. I'll tell you. And I'm a God that will actually help you. You know, you don't have to see me. I don't have to see you. If you're a part of the plan, which every black man is, if he accepts it. There are some, whether they accept it or not, they don't have no choice in it. I ain't going to let them break the promise. They're going to do it anyhow. You know. However, if you've been coming, you like what you hear? You like what you see? Do you know anyone else that's doing it? What brings about the hesitation? You don't have to answer that, but I'm just asking. What brings about the hesitation? You think we can't take care of you, or we won't? What is it that's stronger, that's holding you away from this, than what we have to offer? What's stronger than that? I would want to know. And if it truly is stronger, I want to confront it. I want some of that strength. Hey, why not? You know, I already know about Satan. You know, he's down there in Atlanta. I heard he was getting ready to go to Detroit. I don't know if he really is or not. But nobody can do nothing until we make the first move. Nobody. They can't do it. Satan always reacts. He don't act. So if we don't make a move, he can't do nothing. He just sit there and just wait and wait and wait. And when we make a move, then here he comes, bam. But this time, no more going in a circle. We ain't waiting on nobody. Because you don't have to. We waited over 6,000 years. We just waited. It's in the books here where the message says that God just sat back and folded his arms and waited. 6,000 years of waiting. 50,000 years before that. Making preparations to wait. Right? It took us 50,000 years to get ready to let this man come and be over us. Satan is not over the planet. He's over us. To let you know he's not over the planet, we don't have to do nothing, and the planet's going to kill it. It's already turned against him. He can't go, it's always been, he can't go lay in the sun like we do. The sun ain't, that's against him. So he has never had no power over the planet. It's just that we never made the planet force its power. We lay dormant. He's been over us. He introduced an idea that we allowed to be introduced and let him carry it out because we wouldn't. If we did, we'd be too good at it. Right, we would. We would be too good because we'd have too much knowledge. We got more knowledge than Satan. So that's why the real Satan is black. But it ain't but one. I'm making all of you all like me. You don't read where the real Satan made them all like him. It's only him. He uses everybody else. He don't make them nothing. He just uses them. Because he knows if he make them like him, they're going to do what he does. They always going to try to play a trick on him. They're always going to deceive him. He can't trust them, so he used them. He never make them like him. If any deceiving going to be done, he's going to do it. With me, any righteousness that is going to be done, we can do it. You don't think like this, do you? Would you like to talk with me? Now I'm speaking to the sister. Would you? That's talking with me. You may ask it. And these are things, it's written in the Messenger's literature, I think what he had in Theology of Time. When this one does come, the powerful Son of Truth, he's going to have it where you have to ask him questions. Have any of y'all read that? Any other people that's coming up and say they're the one, and they don't initiate that, they're not the one. Because the one that's supposed to come at the last time, the main thing he does is allows you to, matter of fact, he asks you to ask questions. Yes, ma'am. Explain the mother plane.
Yes, what is the mother plane?
The mother plane is a craft that allows us to go out into space, and it carries a tremendous amount of knowledge and power in it and on it, and it has 1,500 little ships. White people call them UFOs. They first started calling them flying saucers that dock on this plane. That's why it's called mother, because little ships come out of it. It does what the mother does, but in a smaller way. However, it was made especially to show the people that do think that there is a power greater than yours. We're not going to just have something that is fixed like the pyramids. They don't move. However, it still lets the people know it was a power or knowledge here. It was here that's greater than you. So they can always say, well, it was, but I'm here now. It's gone. However, the mother plane and the little ships is here now. They move in, go do what they want to do. And the enemy sees them. So it lets them know that there is a power that exists right now, that is moving, that has mobility, that can do what they want to do to them at any time they want. And it is made for you and I to make sure when the devil starts to come on us with his high technology or science, he's going to push the button. What everybody's talking about, the president got the red button and the red phone. He's actually going to push it. But we got the power over the atoms that he's pushing. It ain't going to work. And even if it exploded, we got another gas that neutralizes all other gas. I don't care if it's nuclear or what it is. So the leadership controls all this. It's little, so it's coming out of the big one, so the big one is called mother. And it's a plane. So they say plane, really it's a spacecraft. Planes usually got to fly on some type of atmosphere. It's got to be on another power. The mother plane don't have to do that. It produces its own power. When you're riding out in space, when you can go where you want to go, do what you want to do, then you're not riding on a power. You got your own power. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
If that answer, does that answer it?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
All right.
When you spoke of your father, who is your father?
I spoke of my father. I think I spoke as though I'm the father. You mean today?
Yes, sir. You said you watched your father.
I watched my father. Oh. Since I'm Allah, why do I have a father?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
that's what's really in your mind?
Yes, sir.
It has been the enemy that has made us think everything that is real is not real. And everything that is not real is really real. Why should you have a father if I don't have one? Why should the best order of Allah's creation, I have to be void of that? This flesh and blood that you see, there is a father to that. In other words, there's a physical father that came from sperm. I came from sperm like you. Then there was a man that raised me that I knew as being my father, and he somewhat protected this flesh and blood and taught me many things. So that's the man that I'm speaking of. However, Allah is true. No entity, even yourself, the only father of that is me, or the original Allah. No one else can claim you as their daughter, or they're your father, unless it is Allah himself. Now, the person that is the father of your flesh and blood, he can say, well, that's my daughter. But what has come into that body and make that body operate, he's not the father of that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So this is, and this is a lot of people think, well, God having a father, God married. You forget the first order of Allah's business is family. But you think, well, in your mind, you think, well, look, if he's got a wife, he's got children, they was in the bed doing it. I know God wouldn't do that. You know, when Jesus was born, he went and it was immaculate. God wouldn't stoop so low as to do that. Who told you that? I mean, the man that told you, you can't turn the radio on, the TV on, he's kissing. He's hugging. With all his killing and everything, the most thing he's showing you is how much he loves. Is that right? So much so that you can't turn the radio on, you can't turn the TV on, because he's always doing something. It's got to be something, got to be great about that. So he take it and turn it around. He put a filthy, devilish, satanic expression on what's real. There's nothing greater in the physical than the art of love making. There's nothing greater. When you find out, look at this way I see it, and I see it the way it really is. You listening?
Yes, sir.
Everything has a purpose. Is that right? Yes, sir. If you have a body, then the body alone has certain mechanisms that's built in it that will talk back to your entity. What about the part of the body that's built in that is pleasure? It's built in. You didn't put it there. You came into a body which is already designed, and at a certain period in life, these things automatically develop. Most of you sisters never asked for a cycle. Every time you talk to me, you wish you didn't have it. But it's there. A period. Cycle. Although you don't want it, it's still there. So this automatically came along with you. So if you're riding in something, your entity is in this, what is it about the body that can give gratitude to this entity? You know, like sometimes Mason come clean my car up. He make it look better than it was when it new. I get up and say, man, I'm sorry I put this on raffle. You mean because the car gives me a good, clean, fresh, godly feeling. Well, if the entity is on the inside of your body, what is it that the body's got to gratify the entity? It's already there. Now, you're not supposed to abuse it. However, if it's done right, someone will see that you are at least attempted to find out what the body does because you got a child. You see? That's righteous. You know, some of you get you a good sewing machine. You want to test that boy out. You know, see if it zigzags. You know, according to whatever your fancy is, that's what you like. I know Brother Najee be working on cars and whatnot. He must like it. Because every time I see him, he's working on one. And what about when he gets a shop that no dirt, the engine has no dirt, and anytime he goes to work on anything, everything is clean. He never get no dirt on his nails or whatnot. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Yes, sir. I was asking him. What I'm saying is, everything has got a pleasure point to it. And when you treat the body wrong, unless you know, I'm hurting, you can pinch yourself or get a splinter in, unless the body lets you know. Something is not right. That didn't just come up and happen to be. If it wasn't supposed to be no love making, we would have never did it. We would have never did it. At one time, before we made you all, it wasn't like that. It was better. However, since the God allowed you all to be made, and then after that he accepted it, then he made a law. There will never be no new life coming into existence unless it comes from two. Now, this new life that I'm bringing in is still coming from two. This little man here and myself. So yes, I got a daddy. You see? You have to look at everything for the way Allah made it, not from the expression that white folks put on it. They make everything natural wrong. But they'll tell you, this bud's for you. And they put everything around that advertisement to make you really look good. Look what we've done. It's just for you. And you drink it and mess yourself up. Right? They won't tell you go get no lemon slush. Got another question?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't mean, really in reality, you all should rejoice. Because you say now, if God himself, the new Allah, not the best knower, but the all knower, is in a body, he did this, he came the same way. He didn't break the law of creation. He came the same way. Then you can say, well, man, this got to mean that I'm valued myself. There's got to be some value in me other than what I've been told. And what do I know of myself or what I know of people, period. This thing about Mary having Jesus from immaculate conception, that's his lie. That's a bunch of crock. That man made that up. He ain't God. He never was God. So he don't have the authority or the right to go around and tell people what I do and what I don't do. And then he tell them and make you believe it. And most of the sisters want to think that because the brothers have been acting so crazy, they think, well, God can't be no man, not like that. Because the one I got, but in reality he is. You got to remember, the black man here in North America, no other place, is the God. He's just dead. By his own submission. Ain't nobody kill him. He said, look, I'm going to spend 50,000 years setting up the preparation for us to go to be dead. Just to give another man 6,000. 50,000 to give another man 6,000. So the man got to be bad. Got to be. So now when he comes back to take over what is his, one of our strongest opposition is our sisters. That which really is his. He don't have nobody beside him because she don't believe it. Because she's thoroughly indoctrinated with the enemy of the black man. So when you talk about being yourself, that's automatically an offense to the enemy, and she's wearing his thoughts. She's wearing his character. So that's automatically an offense to her. So he's not there. He don't have to. She come up on you. Then, because she's close to you. She's in your emotions. She's in the very fiber of how you think. So when that's ripped away from you, now you got a void. Is father right? Will I ever get a wife? Can this ever be replaced again? Why isn't it that I don't have the power and the knowledge and the will and the strength to cause my wife, not somebody else, my wife to see? What's wrong with this picture? And the devil, Satan, will come and talk to her in such a way to confirm what she's thinking of what the devil says. In other words, Satan will confirm what white folks say. So when she sees, or when Satan sees that your heart is being ripped apart, then he says, let's tear it all the way out. He won't be no good for father or himself. And he'll never be no more good for you. Because you're going to see him sink so low, you'll never be able to take him back. He's a mouse. I'm telling you what I know, brothers. When they come to try you, that's Satan. Satan don't have no power over us. Like I tell my wife or the mother of my children, the wives that's with me now, or anybody else. No, I don't like to say no, but you jam me. I don't have no problem saying it and making it work. I don't have no problem doing that. You're not going to make me do something that I'm not supposed to do. You're just not going to do it. I may have mercy, but mercy has a time to it. And also, there's a certain level that I will express as far as mercy is concerned. But you're not going to make me turn away and do something wrong. Because it looks like I'm going to be defeated. Well, I'll just have to be defeated. You're not going to tell me somebody else is. The messenger was 40-some years of teaching. Nobody else did it. You don't see what Jesus taught for no 40 years. He might have done 40 days. He went on a fast. But to suffer, he wasn't labeled as no daily sacrifice. Jesus wasn't. Elijah was. 40-some years. And you mean to tell me that was a fluke? Oh, that's over now. He's gone. Another question?
Yes, sir. When you said that we should stop seeing you so much in the unseen and start seeing you in the seen, how would one do that?
If I want to see what I have done and to see if I really like it, like it starts off in the Bible, after the seventh day, God rested. He looked at his handiwork and he was pleased. I'm looking at you. I saw you here before, and I was here before, and I think time before. I see you here again today. However, what I see is what I did a long time ago, before you was ever born. And I want to know why it don't see me. And it's because it is looking past me at an idea of me. You don't see ideas. You see evidence of it. I'm looking at you, a beautiful sister. However, your beauty reminds me of the unseen, what I did years and years and years back. Matter of fact, 66 trillion years back. You're the only expression, sisters here, whatnot, or sisters that's here, you're the only expression of what I did back then. However, I'm looking at that now. So the only thing I should do is to remember what I made you back there for, how I made you, so when I see you now, if I see any imperfections, I can correct it. So instead of me looking way back then and looking past you, forget that. I'm looking, what I did, all of it is standing right there before me, right there. So it should recognize me, I recognize it. You ain't got no problem, I ain't got nothing either. So if you see me the same way, instead of seeing me the way white folks say I am, I'm floating in the sky. God is omnipotent. He knows everything. Well, that's true. But it got to be explained. Something I don't want to know. You know, it ain't good to know. But everything that has meaning, I know. Just like I know how to answer her question. That's where you have to see me. That when I come around, even when I'm not around, when you think of me in the unseen, or this power and everything like that, you picture my face. I know who it is. I can call him. I can talk with it. I can summons him. Then this way, you're not never looking outside. When you see your brother, you really see me. It may be a lesser form of me, but it's still me. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You don't agree?
Yes, sir, I agree.
All right. Well, that's what it is meant. I am in the unseen more so than I am in the seen. Because right here, I'm just, this podium almost hides me. However, the essence of what I really am and the power of what I really do is everywhere. I call on the storm. I said, look, hey, go down there in Mississippi and blow on my enemy. I'm up here smiling and talking with you. That bad boy will be blowing down. Ooh. They never saw me. Well, they'll tell you, things are strange. It never used to happen like that. It's happening because it's time. And it's time for you to recognize when you're home. Whatever problem you have here, believe me, it's never what you have outside of here. Because at least here, you got somebody concerned about you really solving it. They're only outside with the world. They're only concerned if they can make a profit on it. They don't even want you to die unless you got insurance. Right? Here, we be doing everything we possibly can for you not to die. So you're home. And if you feel like, do you have a problem with authority? Do you have a problem with authority? Someone that has more knowledge than you, and they start directing you as to what to do, when to do, how to do, and why to do until you learn to do it yourself. Do you have a problem with someone teaching or telling or showing you or giving instructions? Do you have that kind of problem?
No, sir.
Well, you should already be here because everybody is here too. Are you, what's your name?
Michelle.
Michelle?
Yes, sir.
You were introduced to this by brother?
Yes, sir.
Well, he's getting better. But he's a fraction of me. You have to go with the plan or the idea. And the idea is always better than a person. It is for a people. That is to express this idea universally for the whole universe. And most of you all don't think that either. You don't think it. Most thing that takes place is so simple. But instead of doing it, a lot of times you all look at who you got to answer to or why you did it. You know, when I first came, it really was like we said, the thought was traveling at 78 billion miles per second. Yours were too. You didn't see the ground you were standing on. We had to slow it up to 24 billion miles per second. I don't know if I'm generating the heater. It's just hot in here. Everybody except me is a fraction. I'm operating in a fraction, but I'm not a fraction. And I don't want you all taking me to task because you hear but. I haven't forgotten. You know, I'm operating at this time as a fraction. If I was a whole, I'd be out of my time. I'm trying to get you to come home so I can be a whole. Like I said in the beginning, the more people that is attracted to right and they come, it lets me know I can take the next step now. You know, it's much like letting your child, teaching them how to walk down the stairs correctly. Because I got a son when he started, man, he come down the stairs, he can come down twice fast as me. But they be bouncing down. Blah, 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 blah. I'll be looking at the hind boys and I said, man, that gotta hurt. They be laughing. But then they have to learn how to walk down the steps. So they take one step and you stand there holding their hand. And when they learn, you can let it go. Go on about your business. They don't hold you captive there while they're still learning how to walk. So you all can hold me captive for a period of time. If you don't learn, I'm going to let you fall. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So because you see me like this now, and when I'm here talking with you all, don't play yourself so cheap as, well, God would be doing something else. I mean, you don't have to be here talking with us. Well, I want to, why not? If I'm God, if I want to come and talk to you, well, I can't come and do that. Another question?
Yes, sir. The first speaker mentioned universal knowledge.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
That's knowledge of how the universe operates. It's knowledge that is true wherever you go, or whatever you do is true. You know, like I hear the secretary always saying 1 + 1. That's universal knowledge because it's absolute. That's what it means. In other words, it's not territorial knowledge. You don't just have knowledge of Kansas. You have the knowledge of the planet. You have the knowledge of the universe. You have knowledge of other star systems. That's universal knowledge. If it's true here, and it's got to be in an absolute form, so it makes it universal. If you was out there on Pluto someplace, it's still, that particular knowledge is still true there. That's what's called universal knowledge. And in other words, to say another term for it would be absolute knowledge. It's the same thing. In other words, knowledge that you cannot argue with, you can't debate, it is. That's universal knowledge. It ain't got nothing to do with white or black, brown, yellow, red. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's almost, when it gets to be universal knowledge and you get up into the real knowledge of being God, actually being it, not knowing it, but being it. Then it steps, as far as this language is concerned, it steps into being wordless knowledge. You know, just what I just spoke to you a few moments ago about myself, looking past me or looking past you, or about you coming, or about us making you 60-some trillion years ago. These are answers that most people won't give you. However, it's universal knowledge. Other beings, other life forms already know. That's an absolute. And it's an absolute now. If life is going to be come into existence the way Allah intends for it to be, it takes two. Even if you say, well, that's not necessarily so. Have test tube babies. Look how many people it took to do that. It'd been cheaper just to have the two. You see?
Yes, sir.
So the way I explained it to you, whatnot, that's still universal knowledge, because you can't debate it. You may argue with it out of ignorance, but you can never come up with a fact to prove that it's wrong. That's what's making us successful. That's why we can call this heaven. And it be true. You should come on home. If any sisters treat you bad, let me know.
Yes, sir.
You have another question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You said the real Satan is black. Who is the real Satan?
It's a brother by the name of, well, brother. It's a man by the name of, by the name of Silas Muhammad. He has what you call the lost found nation of Islam. I am Solomon, and he is Silas. I'm one, and he slurs us. Silas means to slur us. Solomon means one, or solar man. One man. In other words, this is an entity that is the head of the lost found nation of Islam, of which he got started. He's a black man. If you ever see him, you know, if you're with me, he won't have to open his mouth. You say, oh, there goes Satan. Because as I'm growing, he also is growing. He's got to be confirmed, just as confirmed in his mind as I am in mine. The whole thing is that I meet him at the end. I got to wait until everything gets up and going so that you can bear witness to yourself that we're God's. Then when you know that you know, and you got the knowledge to bear witness that you know, then I can say, okay, now we can have our meeting. And one of us won't be coming back. That way, it won't be no more death. After that, there'll be no more death. You want to take my place?
No, sir.
It said, if you can recall, that this day will not come about until the man of sin be revealed. The man of sin was revealed when the messenger came and let us know who he was. That was the man of sin. That was a Caucasian. Now, to put an end to everything that which makes the Caucasian even work, we got to kill that force. We got to destroy it. And that's generated from another man. You know, in darkness, evil lurks in its own proportion as to what it wants to be. Never in the light. They never stand face to face and talk to each other about anything that's meaningful. If it's silly, they do. If it's something that's incriminating, they always turn their back to each other and they talk. You know why they do that? So that they can't be read. You have to listen at their words and don't look at the other 70% of their body language. So they turn their back and talk to each other. And the way they talk, they always speak in a sense where if you're not thinking, you can't read what's really being said. Because what they're really saying is not said from the lips. It's always in the unseen. Did you kill your mother and father? Well, why would you think I would do something like that? I dare you to even think that. He never answered the question. And the person that's listening, they take on a posture of, oh man, they thinking that, well, maybe it is right. I shouldn't think that. They never pursue the answer. So they go on, and then they try to catch each other. They try to catch the person in a lie. If they were facing each other and if he really knew what he was doing, asked the question, he would say, no, answer the question. They would have to answer, but they never do that. There's got to be a generator of that. In other words, even in the daytime when they're speaking with you, they're speaking in the dark. If you ask me something, if I did, yeah, I did it. Well, we have to take your life. Like the messenger said, well, we should kill you. That's what J. Edgar Hoover told the messenger. He said, well, if it's the will of Allah, you can do it. If it ain't, you won't. He said, well, I'm going to pray to Jesus. No. Yeah, am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
All right. Another one?
Yes, sir. So is this Satan just over the nation or just people just in the world in general?
No, ma'am. He's over all satanic acts in the world. In the world. Is my tie crooked? Is that makes it? Your tie is crooked. Y'all got a couple minutes? You sure? You got a minute?
Yes, sir.
We never planned to do all this because of some white man. We did not go through what we went through because of some white man. He ain't. He don't have no power. We had to give him what he got. However, there's a force that came with creation. We want to find out what it is. How to get rid of it. How can we go and just be the one force? It ain't about white people. And in the course of this, before we decided what to do and how to do it, especially over in the East, where the wisdom and knowledge was, it used to be very, very, very black there because Satan was trying his best to keep that knowledge under wraps, where it would not get out as far as to the people at large. So it used to be real dark. You go out at night, you couldn't even see it. The moon had a terrible time penetrating it. That's how dark it was. I think it was Edgar Allan Poe wrote about it, 100 Midnights. That's how dark it was. That's because Satan ranked there heavily. He wasn't a person then. It wasn't in the form of a person. It was just a power. However, when I showed up, it said, oops, I can't stay like this. I got to come into a body so I can deal with this one. So we said, okay, that's what we want you to do. So we made a body for him. And all of the power that was in the darkness, now, he's gained it and is still getting it. Every day, he becomes a little darker. In other words, he's getting the power because he knows he's going to meet me. If I don't gain another ounce of power, he still ain't going to win because I'm light. And then I don't really know my strength. I don't know what I'll do if I really get angry. I really don't know. The earth might be gone. I stand up in space and say, good riddance. Ooh, yeah. Well, anyhow, that's what has happened. And he's still gaining it. You ever see the final conflict? You ever see it?
No, sir.
You never saw it? You ever see Damien?
No, sir.
Well, if you don't, that's something you all should look at. But I wouldn't encourage you to look at it at night at home by yourself or just your children. It should be someone there with you, or we play it here. where you can actually discuss it in the form of knowledge, not the way he portrays it, because it'll put something on your mind that you'll be scared to death and have bad dreams and everything. It'll open up a doorway for him because he's certainly in you. And you have all these terrible things and start seeing things crazy. However, the man has told us. Well, how many of you all have seen it? The final conflict. Do you remember when they was trying to line the stars up and trying to figure out what was happening, and then he was born anyhow, this Christ? But Satan was laying down there all balled up and everything. He was talking about he's feeling every day he's getting weaker and weaker because of the presence of this one that was born that came into the world. Well, that's true. So that's why I'm really here. I'm specifically here to destroy Satan. And I'm going to be able to look at him. He's going to be able to look at me. Well, he's going to try to look at me anyhow. Light might be a little too bright for him at the time, but he's going to try. There's so many things. You all heard me talk about this before? Lake Michigan and all that. So you all know quite a bit. This isn't something that is, we just made up. Or I had a good dream and I didn't forget it, so I told everybody. This is real. No white person has the right to be Satan. Because Satan was here before Allah was. I mean, he existed before Allah. It wasn't in the form of a he, but it existed before Allah. White folks came after us, so they don't have the right to be Satan. They can be Satan's worker by nature, but they can't be Satan. And since Satan represents the darkness, that's what the man is, black. He got some black sisters with him too. Satan is. I thought I had one a couple times there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm not making fun of him, just being, and I'm always humorous. Because I really don't see I don't see things as being big. I really don't. If it's a problem, well, it's a problem. Let's solve it. Well, if we ain't gonna solve it now, we'll put it off and we'll solve it next day. It ain't big. My wife told me, I'm leaving you. No, she didn't. I came home, she was gone. When I did finally catch up with her, I said, hey, what's happening here? I'm not coming back. I thought to myself, what did I do? I tried to find out what I did. They never would talk to me. You know. If I know, I wouldn't ask you. What did I do? They couldn't come up with nothing. So I finally figured out, they must be seeing somebody else. If I really did something, in the theory of a woman, they most certainly would let you know. So it's something that they're doing, they don't want me to find out, but they want to make me think I did something wrong. So I took my heart out, washed it off, cleaned it up, put it back. So she couldn't touch me. And my son that you all saw, Hannah, the one that I made especially for the sisters. We went to California. And just before we got there, he's chauffeuring his father, which is myself. He brought along some CDs, and it was crazy. I'm laying back there in the bed, he's driving along. I got up, I said, hey, son, you got to turn that off. He still played for about 5 minutes. I said, no, I hope I don't have to stop this band. We go to blows out of here. But it didn't happen until we got almost to California. You signs now. This is the time we went to Phoenix, then on into California. We got just about to California. The boy went crazy. Then when we went to the temple, we had the meeting and everything in the church. Everything was a success. He came back, he hugged me. Father, that was tremendous. Rah, 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 rah. Then the litmus test came up. My wife asked him to do something. He didn't like the way she asked it. I said, whoop. There's his mother. He'd been calling on the road all the time, talking to his mother. I said, He had left once before. Me and the king was talking with him, housed him, did all these things. He was living with us. We were teaching him. He's up in the mountain where it talks about it in the 12th chapter in Revelation about the woman pregnant with the child. And they took her on up into the mountains and whatnot. She gave birth between the mountains with this protection. He was part of that. Is that right, King? Wasn't nobody there but he, the king, myself. Well, the king was in and out. Nobody knew where he was at. I was dealing. He saw all this. He saw the book that was written about us and him in it. Is that right? Didn't know the woman. Book 12 years old. He read all of it. We stay up and have lessons on it. I used to teach him about it and whatnot. But you see, we get to California. He's still talking to his satanic mother. And I started listening to that satanic music. Then after we have the meeting, he was filled with the Spirit at the meeting. We come out of the meeting and come home. We're getting ready to dine. And then Satan pops back up. Well, since he had already did this before, when he did it this time, I sat down on the couch and talked with him. I said, son, what you doing? You did this before. When you did it, you almost brought me to tears. Because I said, this is my son. This is my son. One of the greatest men that ever walked on this planet. Last time he was here, he was the real Samson. You know this. Why would you do this? He tried to explain some things. I said, that's not going to cut it. You're not tall standing, are you?
No, sir.
I said, that's not going to cut it. I said, the last time you did that, it hurt real bad. This time, I'll put you in a place you can't touch that spot. And when I told him that, I seen his mother all over him, which is Satan. Not that his mother is Satan, it's still the man. But he has power over people.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? So I saw him do something against his natural will. He loves his father. But he allowed another force to do something to him against his will. And when I put it back on him, his whole body started shaking and trembling. Because he knew he was ineffective and that blot could never be erased unless I did it. And he was so intimidated what he allowed Satan to do. Because you know, when Satan messes you up, as soon as he messes you up, he leaves. He leaves you standing there to take the blunt. He was so ashamed he caught a plane. Wouldn't even let me carry him to the airport. Call a cab. I said, hey, thank God for cabs. Caught a plane, came on back. And had a couple of brothers that's here with me now, today. Almost hoodwinked. They was falling in love with the brother. Because he's lovable. But if you ain't right, you ain't right. And you're not going to make me go no place with you. And you're not going to touch that tender spot here. Because you think you're close to me. You can forget that. I don't know of nobody that has ever breathed a breath of life that's closer to me than the messenger. I don't know of anyone. Because ain't nobody did what he's done. Now I brought him back because of what he did. I brought him back. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
You got to be the same way, black man. You got to accept truth. If you got somebody that close to you, they have already got to have proven to themselves, not you, to themselves, that they are right. Then you can take them into your heart. And they won't fail you. Did I answer the question about the devil being black or Satan being black?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you get this tape. Are you taping this tape? There ain't no skipping. Get this tape so you can listen to it. Because all of us need this. You need the reason for spirituality. You need it's spiritual, but you need to know what's this is based on, what's backing this up, what is really making this real. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
This is home. You got the last question? You got another question?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there more than one Satan?
No, ma'am. There's only one Allah. However, there are many Allahs. In other words, there's one, however, there's many fractions to make the one. There's one Satan, and there's no other little Satans. Everything that you see that somebody's doing something satanic, it is him working through them. It is not that they may agree with him, but they don't never have no power. When you see them working, we went to court for one of my sons to get him out of out of the clutches of Satan. And when I went to see him, when I went to see him on the way to the courthouse, I stopped at the place where they're holding him in jail. They said, "No, you can't see him." I explained to him I was coming from so and so and so and so and so. And I worked a little bit, and they changed their mind. Let me see him. When they got to the actual courthouse, they bring you in. You got to stay behind bars or stay behind a certain line that's got the bars behind. You can't get through it. When he came through, I said, "I'd like for my son to come and sit with me." And they said, "Oh no, we don't allow prisoners to do that." I said, "He's not going to go no place. I want him to come out here and sit with me. I want to talk with him before we go into court." So he said, "Hold on. This is a Caucasian. All of them were Caucasian. I don't know who he went and seen. He came back, and when he came out, he didn't even say nothing. He just opened the door and let him out. We went and sat down on the bench. He's sitting down talking with me. Here comes his satanic mother. She walks in and sees this. She has a fit. Well, since she don't have no power of her own, she goes in the bathroom and summons up Satan. She go in looking one way and come. Is that right? He was right there with me. When she came back out, I said, "Whoa!" When they called us, we went on down. He didn't have to go back. We walked right on down the aisle, and he and I sat together. And Satan let loose in the court. The judge, he even had to back. Whoa! So he granted me my son because of what she did. She went and summoned. If she was right, she had to go summons nothing. I didn't summons nothing. I just told the man what I wanted. They did it. So if she had some power, she wouldn't have to go and summons it. Satan don't, every time somebody is acting satanic, it is him. It ain't them. Although they may be in agreement with them. Like all these sisters in love with Michael Jackson. Anyway in the world, he can marry all them sisters in love with him. Even my daughter's in love with him. What they was really in love with is his ability to perform. You understand what I'm saying? Yes. So this is the same thing with Satan. He may talk to you in your head and whatnot and tell you different things. It's always in a suggestive manner. I come straight out and just tell you. Because I don't care how much you summon, you can't do nothing with me. But run from me. Sometimes I've been sitting around waiting, where's Satan at? I need a fight today. Is this making any sense to you?
Yes, sir.
I'm saying it in a way where, because I'm so used to it, and I've had so many encounters with him, that he's really comical. To someone that's just coming in, it may be more serious to you, because you haven't grasped the things that it is to make sure that you're successful in dealing with him. However, he does exist, but it ain't nothing to be really upset about. The thing that Satan uses on all people, especially you all here in North America, is personalism. He will talk to you and make you think somebody is downing you. That ain't what the person is doing. Just bringing you clear instruction. You take it as, they're downing you. Why you? Why he didn't pick on somebody else? Like we talked to the ministers people. Jamal went into a barbershop, getting dinner orders, and the barbershop said, "Well, what's the difference between the United Nations of Islam and the Nation of Islam?" Jamal said, "Well, the minister's just talking about doing, and we actually doing." The brother stood up and said, "What do you mean? Why are you going to come in here down in the nation?" And he stuck with it. Jamal had to submit, "Well, yes, I shouldn't have did that," and so forth and whatnot. Agreed with the brother in such a way where he calmed everything, but he got his dinner orders. But you see, Satan is talking. The man ain't did nothing. But he's talking to all his people as though the minister has did a whole lot. Satan is telling them that. They can't point to nothing and prove it. We're doing this and we're doing that. We're doing this and we're doing that. And we're doing this and we're doing that. And we got that and we got the other. We said, "What have we got?" We got a restaurant. Okay. What else you got? We got some farmland. All right. What else you got? Well, the minister is a universal minister. He's bringing everybody together. Well, How is that helping black people? You're trying to down the minister. That's Satan talking to them. If they were operating in that question you asked me about universal knowledge, you say, well, what has the minister done for black people? The only thing that they possibly could say is that he at one time spoke in behalf of black people. That's all they can say. Well, did he ever have the resources to do more? Oh, but of course. He had the whole nation of men, black men, behind him. He went around to see if they were behind him. They came out by the thousands. And every time they came, they either had to pay $10 to get in and then gave some charity once they got in. And they came by the thousands. Then he went around and had all sister meetings. They came by the thousands. $10 to get in, and they gave after they got in by the thousands. Well, what happened to the money? What was done that was for black people as a system? They can't answer. They get offended because Satan is talking to them. If they asked us, well, what is Brother Solomon? You saying he God? Well, yeah, he is, but I'm not saying it. The facts say it. But what is he doing for you all? Well, he's freeing us in our thinking. He's teaching us a new thought. Well, what has he got to do? What has he got to back that up with? Well, he's building heaven. Why don't you go check it out? Well, how's that going to help me? You need your independence. That's what he's doing. And he's also teaching you how to arrest Satan in you. And they can bear witness to everything they say about me. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So I have literal laws. Satan don't have nobody, just his workers. When he wants to come through one, he does it. They may look powerful. Even Michael Jackson. You know, that wasn't me. That was not me that gave him that kind of talent to be what he's being. I didn't make him that. I allowed it. But Satan does things to confound you. He does. He got to attract your attention away from what really is. What one thing has that brother did that's for us in a time when that type of power is needed for us? That type of money. The Japanese alone was just going to give him $1 million just to do a commercial. Not $1 million, $1 billion. $1 billion to do a commercial. A commercial. Here's Farrakhan over there with Gaddafi trying to beg for $1 billion. Here's somebody, they were just going to give him $1 billion if you just do this commercial. If he's going to have $1 billion and he's living at a time when Elijah spent 40 years trying to make a way for us and gave his life up and never got over about $80 or $90 million. Here, this brother going to get $1 billion just for shaking his booty. So did I do it? Or is that the Satan power? You see? You see? Sister Ava came with Mr. Farrakhan. She had cancer, was about to die. And because she said she would help Minister Farrakhan, the cancer some way disappeared. Who healed her? It wasn't me. I sure didn't do it. So if I didn't, who did? Ain't but one person left. Satan did. Because he knew the greatest hypocrite that ever would live would be Minister Lewis. So why not put all these things that look like Allah in front? So everybody would see, oh, this is divine. Allah is with that. However, at the end, when your guard is let down and then you get the real story, boom. But you participated so vigorously. You've gone so far down the path of wrong that now even in your own thinking, you think you can't turn around and come back. So you say, well, I either stay with it or I'll just go on off, like the book reads. Everybody became afraid of Solomon. They feared because of him. And each man got up and went his own way. It didn't say he went and got with Solomon. Got up and went his own way. Because they were still listening to Satan. If you with me, I teach you how to talk back to him. So come on home, sister. You got another question?
No, sir.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
That was the last one I said?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We stay here, what, until 4 o'clock? We have any other questions anyone would want to know before you leave here today? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come up. Then, no, wait, brother brother Amin is coming up. then you come up. All right. After him, then you come up. No, after brother Amin. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Father. Father, first I would like to thank you for protecting my seed. They were in an accident in Los Angeles, and they fully recovered. I would like to know what should I learn from what took place.
Well, were they with your mother or their mother?
No, sir, not when the accident occurred.
They were with someone else?
No, sir, they were alone. They were by themselves. They were coming from a school, crossing one of the busiest streets in Los Angeles, and they were in a crosswalk. And a guy ran a stop sign and hit my young daughter, 7, and my son, 11.
Well, as far as you are concerned, it would only mean to you that I really do exist. And there is something for them that they will be with us. And for you to stop worrying about it.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, for their mother, let me finish.
Yes, sir.
For their mother, it might mean a spanking coming to her if she think Master Farad Muhammad did it. We have ways of sealing people's heart when they wrong, so I can come and really spank them. You still in love with her?
No, sir.
All right. You all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
If I want you, I'm going to get you. If you have earned the blessing, you're going to get it. If you've earned the spanking, you're going to get it. You know why? Because when the messenger was here, and all that you all did that was wrong, and you didn't have to pay for it, he paid for it. Because the law is, when you do something, there's a consequence. White folks say, well, Jesus died on the cross for your sins, so the world shouldn't have. He got it backwards. First place, Jesus didn't die on the cross. However, did Jesus, when we allowed him to pass, because he paid for the sins of you all that came and said you with this, and in your heart you really wasn't. You came and did things wrong. Somebody had to pay for what you did. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
So it's the same thing with these other sisters and other brothers that is doing things. We allow certain things to happen to make them believe, like the hypocrites did in the past. Prayed for rain, laughed at the prophets. So when we sent the storm, they looked and said, oh, rain for our crops. 3 hours later, they were swimming. Them in their crops.
Yes, sir.
You see?
Yes, sir.
You know, really, I take an offense to the people that are still with the minister. Even those that sympathize with him. I take an offense to that. Just like I take an offense to the mother of my children from the first 10. I take an offense to what she has done. I take an offense to that. I almost take it personal. Because there was no reason. She cannot come. The woman never worked when she's with me. Never. She wouldn't even take a job tasting pies. She didn't have to. So what would be the reason for her to turn each one of my children against this and their father? You see? So they've earned this. So I may have caused something to happen with her to make her think that her God is really with her and going to reward her. And then when she gets to the real gate where the reward is, which door is behind, and they open it up, and I'm there. I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it. Yes, sir. Next question.
Yes, sir, Father. She shared that the sins of, I shared with her what I saw and what took place with the children. She shared that the sins of the father shall visit the children, throwing it back on me that it was my fault because they were in the accident.
Okay.
And I'm with you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, Father.
Walaikum salam.
You answered two of my questions, but I had a chance to ask it. Does the city and state have any bearings on your character and nature that you were born in?
Well, the place, yes, sir. The reason why I'm saying it this way is because say this is Kansas. It was called Kansas for a particular reason. However, it could have been called Doodly Wop. The effect of what takes place will still happen. So, yes, sir, where you are born has an effect on the character of how you express your entity.
Yes, sir.
So it's not so much the city and state. That has something to do with it. However, the realness of it, the property or the place where you were born, as its conjunction with the stars and the planet and the moon and the time, when you come from your mother's womb, has a tremendous effect on how you will actually express your character. If you understand.
Yes, sir. Because I learned this is Kansas, and then you stated that the last arch deceiver was coming from Arkansas or Arkansas.
Yes, sir.
Would that be Bill Clinton?
Well, yes, sir. Yes, sir. In that sense. Yes. He's the last president that has any type of clout that we'll see as far as being president of this country or of a people. Bill Clinton. And we can see how he's going out.
So Arkansas, is that the opposing or opposition or opposite of Kansas?
Well, after really looking at it, it surely appears to be that it very well could be just that. Because if this is heaven, and he's the last arch deceiver, so it looks like you've been doing a little thinking.
Yes, sir. And when I was studying the history of Kansas, the name John Brown, the abolitionist, stood out. And I went off into his history a little bit, that his ancestor, Peter Brown, came over not on the Mayflower, but in the Mayflower, which led me to believe that he was chained below decks.
Yes, sir.
Was that so?
I don't see that.
I was wondering if he might have been half original, like Master Ford Muhammad.
Did I meet him as a half original?
I was wondering if he was, since he came over in the Mayflower, and he was born in Connecticut.
Well, no, sir. If he was born in Connecticut, he couldn't have came over.
Oh, his ancestor came over, Peter Brown.
Oh, you asked me about him? His ancestor, or you asked me about who? You asked me about the king?
Well, I'm asking about John Brown, the abolitionist, one that took part in the history of Kansas.
He couldn't have came over on the Mayflower.
But his ancestor, Peter Brown, did.
Oh, okay.
According to the biography.
All right. So you asking, could they possibly be half original?
Half original, yes, sir.
It possibly could be. I'm not looking back. I haven't. That's something that has never interested me, to look back on our slavery time or how people did what and what they did, because most times people look back to see the misery that will justify them to come against this man to stop it. When I look back and see it, it's not that I'm looking back. I have a chart as to when we were then and look forward and see what was going to happen. So we already knew what was going to happen before it happened. So, hey, we ordained it. Let's hurry up, let it happen, get it over with, let's go. I don't look back to bear witness against this man. He's the devil, period. Whether he killed everybody or nobody, he's still the devil.
Yes, sir.
So I don't look to see how much of a devil or how little of a devil. Now, if I wanted to look back, if I found the time, I would do so. However, it would have to have a real good reason for me to do that in that kind of way. Even in the lessons, when we speak about half original Columbus, the people that are half original, even Master Fard Muhammad, it told about what they did according to the plan of what was taking place. Not so much of their ancestors or really got into how they was right or wrong. They just told what they did. This gave us the ammunition or the knowledge to know why things are.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Not saying what you did is wrong. I'm glad you did that. You know, you can search it on out, and the more you do, the more you will see that what we're doing is right.
Yes, sir.
Because nobody's going to force this man to stop. What he's doing is forcing us to start. If you want the pressure off, you just get up and do it. He can't stop you. You'll be surprised how strong. You'll be surprised how strong you just be surprised.
Yes, sir. One more. It's about the third planet of our sun family. Why is it orbit is so erratically different from the other planets? Not orbit, but its rotation.
You talking about Jupiter? Or
Uranus?
Uranus?
Uranus.
Why is it?
Did we plan it that way, or did it happen that way after?
You say, why is it so erratic?
Yes, sir. It rotates on its side more so than the other planets. I think it's something like 98 degrees to the plane of its orbit, where Earth is 24 degrees.
Is all the rest of them 24?
I didn't go into that. No, sir. I don't know. But it's so much different from Earth. Did we plan it that way, or that's something that happened later on in its history?
No, sir. It's planned that way.
We planned it that way.
It will change within the next 50 years.
It would change within the next 50 years.
Yes, sir. We will change it within that time.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
Yes,
or we're going to straighten it up.
Yes,
all right. Yes, sir. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir. Walaikum salam. You all hot? Ready to go? Okay.
Yes, sir, Father. What's the purpose of poison ivy and ringworms?
Well, that's something that is for our enemy. Other than that, there is no, what you say, real purpose for it as far as, well, you didn't ask me that. We're living in 6,000 years of decay. And there are certain things that we produce that actually speeds up or put decay in order. In other words, if you have ringworms, if somebody gets ringworms, that's a condition that is almost for the dead or dying. It starts to doing away with the body. Poison ivy is that's something that is a protection from another plant eating plants. It's almost like the protection like a skunk. You know, it can't really hurt you as far as biting you and things of that nature. However, it puts out an odor that drives you away. Well, the poison ivy is not for people as much as it is for other plants that grow around it, and also other insects and whatnot. That's a protection, an immune system from our what did you say? A what? A defense. But we come up, you know, like and get tangled up with that, and we have adverse reactions from it. However, there's another plant that will take away the poison from that plant. I got to find it. Is that it? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What does it mean when a person's entity is before its time or out of time or before its time?
It means that the person will not exercise enough will to be in sync with what's taking place. You know, if they're not Jesus or have the purpose of what Jesus did, Jesus came to warn a people to let them know that they were on the path of error according to God. So the knowledge that he expressed was out of the actual time for it to be practiced. However, it was necessary for him to express that knowledge to let the people know that he had authority from the Father. He wasn't just like them, or he operated the way they did. Now, when you get someone else that is not operating from that type of authority and they're going to act out of time, it's because they don't recognize what they got, or the devil may have given them some knowledge that made them impatient, because when the devil, if he gives you knowledge, he don't give you patience. So it's something wrong. If I give you knowledge, and it's beyond the time in which you're living in, it's for you to change the time. However, you have enough knowledge to bring it about. Not so much that you make yourself a nuisance. You understand? If you understand, that would be it then. Yes, sir. You know anybody like that? You know anybody that's out of time?
Not as far as out of time, but the person was sharing with me that it was shared with him that he was before his time, or his entity is before his time. So I wanted to know what that actually meant.
Well, the person that told him, they were just giving him a compliment. If he wasn't a scientist, he don't know if it was before or after. He was just giving him a compliment in what he's doing. Sure. Let me put my thinking cap on.
Yes, sir, Father. Can a person grow out of their character, or grow out of the influence that they're born in, or do they ever grow out of it, or do the influence always, or does the influence always stay on the person?
You asking me, can a person do that? Certainly. That's why you all have to grow out of the influence of Satan or the devil. Got to grow out of it. And what will cause you to grow out of it is just being yourself. If you are not something, you can easily come out of it. You know, if you're in this room and it's too hot, you can leave. So you can come out of it. Now, the question is, do most people find it to their advantage to change their character? Most people don't. That's in this world. Because they feel if they change, they're going to lose whatever stability they got that's making a life for them in this world. Once they see that that is not needed and they're really with me, then they don't have that problem. They can change. And if they're with me, not can change, they must change.
Yes, sir. After the negative is destroyed, will we still have a particular character like that you can point to? Or
oh, yes, sir. That's the beauty of a field of flowers. You see many, many, many different things, but all of them are right. That's the beauty of it. That's what I can't wait to do. Hey, I really can't wait to see it. You know, the black woman is beautiful. She really is. But the black man, ain't no words for you, man, other than God.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Father.
Anybody else? Yes, sir. You go to that one, you go to this one. Well, he beat you. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yes, sir, Father. The term that where there are two or more Muslims together, Allah is present also.
Yes, sir.
Would you explain it?
Well, if he's by himself, if one Muslim, and he's a real Muslim, if he's by himself, he is God. But he can't be with himself. And he can't bear witness to himself. So if one more show up, one can bear witness to the other. That's all it means. See, if I'm in the room talking, I can be talking in the spirit and really getting into it. Ain't nobody in here. Ain't nobody to bear witness. I said nothing. But if it's just one other person, they can go and tell it.
Yes, sir.
That's what it means.
Thank you.
That's it?
No, another.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you were mentioning about the mothership earlier, and there was a vision that was explained to us over 25, 30 years ago, and it came from Yusuf Tex.
Yes, sir.
He was a former minister of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Yusuf Tex, Joe Tex, Yusuf
Yes.
Aziz. He was telling us about that he saw this warehouse, And in the warehouse, there were some boxes on a conveyor belt. However, there was no train track leading to the warehouse. There was no highway leading to the warehouse, nor was there any water around the warehouse. And what he saw to appear to be the moon up in the sky. When he looked up, he saw the moon break away. A fourth of the moon broke away, and these ships came down to the warehouse and took these boxes away with them. And then when he looked back again, another quarter of the moon broke away, and these ships came down to the warehouse, and they took the boxes away. And this completed itself until all 4 quarters of the moon had disappeared and came down and took the boxes away. Would you give some interpretation to that?
Yes, sir. I keep it real simple. It's not this warehouse.
Yes, sir.
And what he was saying, he was describing that there were no means of transportation to this warehouse. So how did the boxes leave, or how did the boxes get there? Now, it wasn't the moon. It was another spacecraft that we have. And as they were being dispatched, it appeared as though a quarter was leaving. The boxes really wasn't boxes as much as they were people. We have no need for boxes on no ships.
Yes, sir.
There are many things we gave Ezekiel a vision, and he called them creatures that was on this wheel. 4 living creatures. He didn't call them people. So this brother has a vision. He saw boxes. That type of intelligence is only interested in the minds of men and the best of them. So it looked as though, or it sounds as though, quite a few of us will be exiting from this particular warehouse, meaning before the final day comes and the fire is placed over North America, just before that time, those that is to leave on the ship, that's how you'll be leaving. And it will be from one centralized point, not so much a building. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Father.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, sir. You all miss me or something? This is not over your head, is it? Okay.
Yes, sir, Father. First of all, I'd like to thank you, the bear witness that you protect the people that's with you. I was in a violent confrontation up the street here on 13th Street. I just recently started driving a taxi cab, and a person ran out on me on a fare a couple of weeks ago, and 2 days later, I saw him on a street corner right up the street there. I got out of the taxi cab and walked up to him and asked him about the fare, and he claimed that he didn't know what I was talking about. It must have been someone else. It was him. However, he was going to walk away, and before I knew I could react good, I had grabbed him by the collar and had him up against the wall with my forearm and was about to choke him out. And these other people that was around him hang out on them corners up there doing dirt, men and women, and they started coming out, and people was yelling, "Don't hurt him," and call the police and all this kind of thing. I wondered about myself, is this, did I react in an improper way? I mean, it was something before I could even think good. It was just something that came out, and I was, trying to get a little more soul searching going in that area. Should I have handled it a little bit better than that?
Well, I don't know. I may have done the same thing. Did you get your money?
Well, I didn't get the money. However, I did get him. I got him and managed to wrestle him to the taxi cab and got it and share with him that this is something that we in the community wasn't going to tolerate. And I was a member of the United Nations of Islam, and for them to even be up there doing what they was doing was out of order, and what he did was definitely out of order. And I gave him a good talking to in that respect. Before the police did arrive, they finally did arrive, and someone did call the police. I made a report, however, before that time, he exited, and I haven't seen him since then. However, there was a point that I was wanting to make.
Was your point made?
Yes, sir.
Or was it received?
It was made, the evidence that it was received, I haven't seen him there anymore.
I don't mean just him. It was more people there besides him.
Oh,
right?
Yes, sir.
What kind of impression was left on them? Did you look?
Yes, sir.
What kind was it?
It was a good impression. In fact, one of the women that walk around up there came over to share with me where he stays, where he hangs out. And she was saying, "Yeah, we don't like him no way." I asked him what his name was. She said, "Well, she used the word a-hole." Mm-hmm. And then there's the fact that none of these other people would step in and even come to his aid in defense, and they were starting to come around and surround me. And when all this was going on, I looked and saw the number of them that's starting to come in on me, but nobody would help him, would come to his defense. So,
well, if it was an impression on them in the right type of way, then yes, you were successful. Money isn't everything. I may have handled it different. How much did he owe you?
It was about $30.
$30?
$30. I took him way out on like 85th and State and brought him back, and he stopped. He ran. He was like you were describing some of the satanically, how he manipulated and did what he did. And me just learning how to do it, I played it all back and learned a lot. I couldn't have went to a school to learn how someone would try to con you into doing something like that without really.
Well, based on what you're telling me, I won't say you acted right or not.
Yes, sir.
The evidence will show.
Yes,
if
sir.
the people learned something, about us, then fine. If they didn't, what I would have done if he ran out on me, if I didn't get him right then, and I just say, okay, I'm going to get you. I'll see you laying in the street, or you're going to come back with the money. One or the other would happen. I wouldn't have to touch it. Yes. But since maybe you don't feel you had the power like I have, and you did what you wanted to do, what you thought let's just hope that the people that were standing around learned something.
Yes, sir.
So, in other words, I'm not going to punish you for it.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you.
Is that it?
I have one other question. You had mentioned about the country or the war starting up again, and I had noticed that they really pushing this movie, Saving Private Ryan. They were talking about how violent it was and some of the scenes from it, and how it depicts war and such. And then I noticed there are other media is starting to pick up on the same thing with bringing back war stories and this kinds of things. Are we really close to war breaking out?
Yes, sir. When you say we, you mean the white man?
I mean, yes, sir. Excuse me.
Yes, sir. Real, real close. Did you see what happened yesterday in Ireland? Yes, sir. We're very, very close. Well, they are very, very close. And we are very, very close of actually going to work in a real way. We're very, very close where the scientist is about to let you know that they have been in the unseen all along and you could not fail as long as you was in motion doing something. They're about to let you know that. We're about to be very successful in everything that we even think about, let alone what we do. That's how close we are. The scientists are tired waiting, and I'm tired waiting. We have to be about really doing something that is meaningful so our people can see. I've just about gotten the head together. Now the head is to get the body together, and the body will come from seeing what they see. Most people can't see what's taking place here in Kansas. That's around the country that is donating, that is helping, that is sacrificing to make sure that you all are able to work without any money and get things done. There are people that's putting money in for this to be successful. Shortly, we expect to have all over the country everybody looking at this because they see this as being the model that we're setting it up to be. They actually see it. And by doing that, they will give what they have and also come. And I want you strong enough to really be the head. Be the head. They come, we got a place for them. Better still, we have instructions for them. And we're not so personal that we allow them to tie us up and we get nothing done. You know, Satan sees this and he sees, oh, well, look, I lost this. So what I'll do, I'll flood them with people. And they all come in looking good and they're submitting for 30 days. Then you look up, half your furniture's gone, your cash register is gone, you know, your business, the people in the community is cursing you out because of their behavior. But if you're paying attention to everything, they can't do that. It's right here. We got 2 school buses just sitting there. We don't get anything just for nothing. We got 2 people in school, but we got 2 schools. Think about it. Even the devil going to be rooting for you. Daddy?
No, so Father, there's one last question I have. I've been watching the devil and the computer system, and they're concerned about this 2000 problem. They can't get the computers on straightened out because they didn't program them right when the year 2000 hits. And they're concerned about their banking system. Well, a lot of things, but mainly a lot of the banking system. People's getting ready to get into a rude awakening because they're fearful that people will lose their faith in the bank. And is this something that's part of a plan too?
Oh, yes, sir. Everything that's happening with him is part of a plan. Wouldn't that be a good time to do away with money? So all of y'all that's sitting back and think you got tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands laying back for the rainy day. It starts to raining and you go to the bank and the man tell you, I've been telling you for the last 10 years, 2000 was coming up. We can't find no record of yours. What are you going to do? You cursed us out the whole time. So now you're going to come ask us? We don't know you. Just keep on holding on to that money. That would be an excellent time for him to come and say, listen, we're doing away with all money. If you got money in the bank, it's just too damn bad. We closing the banks now. Matter of fact, we can't burn it fast enough. We're throwing it in the street. Let the wind blow it away. What you going to do? And I'm backing it up. It's something to think about. So you're out chasing the dollar, trying to catch the wind. You can't catch it. If that answers your question, yes, sir. Nothing of that proportion will take place without our permission. We made this man develop his nature because of money, and we're going to take it away from him. And when it's gone, he has no power. None. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Father. I have 2 questions. One pertains to my thinking. I'm having some problems right now with some decisions, making decisions. And I know about the planets and so forth, what's taking place there. It's having an effect on me. I was wondering if you can give some solutions for myself in regards to that matter so that I can make clear-cut, straightforward decisions. Very important decisions.
What do you want to know?
Well, I'm thinking about fasting.
Fasting?
Yes, sir. Fasting, just going on a straight water fast.
For the purpose of what?
Of clearing my ability to identify what factors I need to identify in order to make decisions.
Well, I'll say this. You already know what to do. The problem always comes in is when you try to incorporate or to have a partner. If you feel like, well, I know it's right to do so and so and so, however, my wife ain't going to go for it. I know this is right, but the law going to be after me about my children. Every time you add something, that's where the problem comes. You already know it's right. You got to say, look, this is right. I'm going for it. All that other stuff, to hell with that. It doesn't make any difference what time, positions that the planets are in. It is all for your advancement. What makes it difficult for you is when you try to add something to it. You try to make the forces that is making you accept something that's not in the cards. If you're born at a certain time and the stars at a certain place now, and the moon's at a certain place, and it's having certain effects on you, as the astrologists say, and you find yourself into difficulty, it's because you're trying to add something to this. And the power said, no, we're not having that. And you're saying yes, and you're pulling your hair out. I talk about this. One day, like I said, I'm really going to get into this wife thing. Because I seem to have too many, I'll be running from it. One of the reasons why, it's not that I run hard. I run to the last second when I can't say no. When I'm already shown, regardless of what you think, what you see, and I already know this got to take place for a future date and a future time. Because I know you don't understand. I back up off it. Then it comes rubbing right in my face. I got to accept it. Because this is the plan. It ain't because of love. I love you. So you do the same thing. When the directive power comes to you to shape your destiny and your footsteps, and you want to bring some other extra added weight with it, it rejects that. So you suffer. You still got to take the step. But you aching. You hurting. You got a headache. You done went and ate an apple and then ate bean soup. You know you're going to hurt. That bad boy pull up some gas, you're going to do something. You got to do, when you know what's right, just do that. Just do it. If you don't do it, you don't trust me. I can't show you that I'm allowed. I can't do it. If you're going the way the world says go, that's not my way. So I can't be with you. However, if I call you and you answer the call and then you come and say, Father, I'm here. However, I brought my wife. I said, she's not your wife. Well, I'm in love with her. What can I say? Now you're going to catch hell. Because I'm not going to let you leave. And she's going to put it on you. She's laughing at you and I'm looking at you. So I'm almost in your mind, you caught between a rock and a hard place. Only if I say, come and you come. And you say, well, can I bring my wife? No, that's not your wife. Let her go. See you, honey. I'll give you dreams of your one that's coming. I'll replace the one that wasn't yours in the first place. That's easy to do. But what makes it hard, you won't let me. You still think you got to hold on to that one. When you wasn't, where you all got married, that's not your wife no how. It wasn't out of love, it was out of lust. It wasn't out of knowledge, it was out of the like of it. Just nature. So if you find it hard, if the stars are saying one thing and you know that's what it's saying, what makes you think you're powerful enough to change it? Not just you. I'm just making a statement. The same is with me. I put it off to the last minute. I know it's got to happen. I put it off. I put it off. And the clock has started ticking. Tick, tock, tick, tock. And then here it comes. Bam, bam. Huh? Got to go and do it. Another question?
Yes, sir. I've been.
Do y'all believe me?
Yes, sir.
You'll be surprised how easy it is to be right. You'll just be surprised. You'll just be surprised. You think it's hard because you don't see the unseen. You heard of it. You think of it, but you don't think it'll do nothing for you. Well, damn, man, that's what you're here for. That's why the black man in North America is here for, to make the clear definition or expression that the unseen exists. And they can bear witness to it because you benefit from it. There ain't no God but Allah, and it's for you and you are Him. So everything that exists that you don't see with the eye is already there. It ain't coming. It's there waiting for you to call on it so it can serve you. But the call got to be right. You call on it and you want to incorporate another power or partner when Allah don't have a partner. You can't make that power except that partner. That's where the hell comes in. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You've heard me say, they come and told me, you got to stop working. In the middle of winter. I'm looking around, I'm an individual, I got things. However, what I'm known for, I'm a man of my word. And when you're known for that, people really trust you. Then you come up and say, well, look, I got to stop work. For how long, Royall? I don't know, indefinitely. What? I don't know. I just know I got to stop. Well, what's making you think you got to stop? I've had an encounter with the Supreme Being. I've been instructed by nature. I got to stop. Well, how you going to make it? I don't know. Oh, Royall, you want me to get you a doctor? You see? When it's time to rent to be paid, the people say, where's the rent? I'm looking at scientists, hey, where's the rent? They don't even answer. Then they send you a nice note. Pay the rent, go to court. Well, I guess when I get to court, the scientists will say, everything is all right. Go to court, 40 hours, you got to get out. Where was the scientist? I'm still thinking that I got to stay in the place. I forgot that we own 96,940,000. I forgot that. I'm thinking it's supposed to be just a little house. You see? So it got down to the final hours. I didn't buck it. I didn't go no place. Didn't nobody want me because then they thought I was crazy. Oh, poor Royall. He was such a good brother. Hard worker, too. I don't know what happened to him. At the last minute, the Lone Ranger rises up. You see what I'm saying? Snow up to my ankles or my knees. But I did what they said. I stopped. I didn't know how phone bill was going to get paid. Rent going to get paid. Had a brand new car. They come and took that. I just filled it up with gas too. But to show you what they did, they took me at the last, just to show me. I'm going to show you that when we say we love you, I'm going to show you. I'm going to let you get in a situation where you can't find no way out, period. There ain't no way out. I'm going to make everybody that know you think that you absolutely crazy. So they're not going to help you. You can't go no place. Can't go to the well, you can't go no place. I'm putting you in a situation where if you go, you're going to walk and you're so far away from everything, it's going to be 10 feet of snow. You ain't going to make it no how. At the last minute, here comes the Savior. Saves me from it. They took my car. I forgot about it. I said, well, I just have to chalk it up as lost. I think I owed 5 or 6 more payments. What about $180-some a month? Could have been paid it off. I'm just trying to make good credit. They took it because I wasn't working, wasn't paying them. After I went through some things that the scientists carried me through, then I got a call from one of my worst enemies. Left message. Royall, you need to call the bank. Call the bank for what? I don't want nothing. What call the bank for? I'm thinking, I ain't calling them people. Got to be a trick. Some say, you better call them. I waited for about a week. Put the number up. Stumble upon it. I see the number. I said, let me call these people and see what's going on. I called them up. They said, hey, you come on down and get the money for your car. Money for the car? Yeah, we owe you $700 for the car. How you owe me? They say, well, we sold your car, and this is the money over what we got. You kept the car so well. This is what the car sold for. I'll be right there. I got to the bank. We went down in the basement. Man carried me down in the basement. I don't know what, he had a little office down there. He told me, he says, I don't know who you was with, but the God must have been hiding you. We couldn't find you nowhere. I thought I had lost it. You see? They took it. I lost my car. Full tank of gas. They called me up when I was least thinking about it. $700. And we needed it. But I never bucked them. I always wondered, well, how's it going to work? But I didn't say, well, I'm not going to do it. That don't make sense. That's crazy. So now I'm talking to you. Now what they do, I can do. So if you got a problem, I'm telling you, all you got to do is submit to truth. If you see what's right to do, just do it. If they come and threaten you, if they come to threaten you, Allah didn't come to threaten you. He come to get the ones that threaten you off you. Let them threaten you and let them come. When they come to meet you, they meet me. But you got to make your mind up. Once you make your mind up, I don't know how to tell you. This works. I'm telling you, it works. If you're with me, matter of fact, well, you got another question?
Yes, sir. This question pertains to something that I've been thinking about in music. Right now I'm dealing with the dual nature of music. It consists of music is produced with sounds and silences. When you take away negative, then silences will be no more. Is that correct? As far as producing music, it won't be necessary to have silence as part of that, as a characteristic of music.
Oh, yes, sir. It will still be there. It won't be labeled as negative or silences.
Yes, sir.
That might be the way it's described now. However, if something is accented, like the sisters look very pretty, but then they put on earrings to heighten their beauty. They really don't need them. If they stay with me, they sure enough are not going to need them. So if you're going to make something, if you're going to use something to accent something else, then that's acceptable. Music is a wonderful thing. So if it's going to make you, I know all of you have heard Patti LaBelle.
Yes, sir.
And she get into the real high notes, and you think she's reached the highest, and then she break out at the last second even higher and then fall back down. And if she just held that high, that's why you say, man, hey, give me a break. But she does it and then break back down real quick. And then come back up again. That makes you really pay attention when she was up. It touches that righteousness to you there because it appears as though that sound is circling the universe and is pleasing to the scientists or God's ears. You don't know what I'm saying? Do you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, sir, it will still be there. It'll be expressed maybe differently from different people. But we will experience it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, is there anyone else? It's 5:02. Is there anyone who has to go home? Yes, sir. Brother Muti there?
Yes.
What I would really like to do, now I may do this, I may be here next Sunday also. I may come out. I don't know just yet. I would like to speak on, just on the beauty that surrounds you every day that we don't take advantage of. And what I really see and what I have in my home. There's a lot of people come to my home and just work. There's one sister there now. She came in and she's doing dusting and whatnot. So I'm looking at her. And half the people, I'll be looking at her. for? Man, the house can't be this dirty. Like 100 people in here. You know, they clean up behind each other. If they wasn't here, they wouldn't have to clean it up. Yeah. However, they tell me that they pick up, they're so happy at my house. And I really look at them, they be telling me the truth. I seen this one sister, I said, well, you know, it's really not necessary for you to come as often as you come in. Oh, no, sir, Father. No, I really, don't make me stop coming. Well, if it's that good to you. I walked in the other day, I caught her, you know, when I caught her, I saw her cleaning the shades, you know, on the lamp, and the shades is perforated. She was cleaning it with a toothbrush. I never saw them do that before. I said, man, she's really happy she's here. Then all of my children, they just happy. They just happy. My wives, they happy. Is that right? One of them's talking. They're just happy. I don't know of anyone that's with me that is not happy. They may start off not happy, but they stay with me, they automatically can't help themselves. You got to be just like me. Just like me. And if you're not suspicious of your own self, you will witness that. Anybody that's got any confusion? Mother's at my home now.
Yes, sir, Father. I just want to take this time to thank you for everything. And this is a special experience that I had. I shared it with some of the believers here. And I've often thought about it. It happened so fast. I've often thought about it. I kept saying, all praise is due to Father. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. May I relate this little experience to you, just short?
Have you all heard it? Is it about the bicycle? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. One afternoon, I picked up 3 sisters here to take 2 of them to Rolling Hills and 1 to the diner. I decided to make the diner stop first. As I approached the diner, I looked and I saw about 10 lost found brothers blocking the sidewalk, just standing around there. They don't look so hot. That's the word I use to myself. They don't look so hot. I said, all praises due to Allah. Yes, thanks, sir. So I said, all praises are due to Allah. So I pulled up almost in front of the diner. The parking spaces were taken. And I got out of the car, stopped the car, got out of the car, went around to the rear door, and opened the door for the sister and helped her out, assist her in getting out. And she gave me her book first. It was a big MGT manual. So I held that one in my arm like this. In the meantime, I was still looking at those lost found brothers blocking the sidewalk. So I said, all right, sisters. After she got out, I shut the door and I walked in front of the sisters toward the brothers. I looked at them like this, and I said, all right, brothers, I said, coming through, like that, with a little smile on my face. So here comes a lost found brother on a bicycle with his feet on the handlebar and his hands holding the seat. All of a sudden, he came right at us. I don't know where this force came from, Father, but all of a sudden, I had the book in my manual in my left hand. Then all of a sudden, I did like that. Hit that handlebar, and the bicycle turned around. The bicycle turned around like that and went toward the street. And I wasn't smiling. Then I turned around and looked at the brothers like this. And then they started opening the way. Praise be to Father. They started opening the way. We had a little path right to the door.
Yes, sir.
So I opened the door and said, "All right, sister, we can go in." And I let the sister in first. Then I went in and greeted Brother Kenneth, who was there, and another sister was there. Then I shook his hands and gave him the greeting, hug. And then I turned around and came back out, and the brothers were still standing around out there. But I just walked, didn't pay them any mind, I just walked straight to the car. But, however, Father, it happened so fast. That's what I couldn't quite understand. Like a hidden force just grabbed caused me to move like I did.
Yes, sir.
But I thank you, Father.
You're welcome.
And I still say all praise are due to you, Father. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. These are testimonies. You know, I'm quite sure all of y'all can testify to something. It's going to get better and better. You ain't ask me about Mars, are you?
No, sir.
Okay.
Father, what does genius mean?
Genius?
Yes, sir.
Means that you operate from the origin of things. So whatever you come up with is always in accord with what is from nature or from the beginning. So therefore, it's hard for you to be stopped. Genius. You're working from the genes of us. The us is Allah and the messenger. So who can stop you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Were you a genius? Yeah, that's all right.
It's been shared with me that I was a genius. And in thinking to myself, I was like, many times thinking about that. And I'd be like, I don't see it. And then one day it occurred to me, I don't really know what it is. So that's why I had the question.
You know now?
Yes, sir.
Or study on it.
Yes, sir.
I prefer you being a God.
Yes, sir.
Geniuses always have to deal from signs. You know, like you turn on the TV, you got the Discovery Channel. The word is discover. That you know these are not original people that's doing this. They got to discover. You know, like they discovered the Indians here. Just be God, brother. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Father.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Yes, sir, Father. I had asked earlier, made the statement about destroying or negative being destroyed. However, when you destroy Satan, does that destroy? Will reaction still exist?
No, sir. When I destroy Satan, it would be like me shutting off the generator that produces electric. I don't care how much you turn the switch on and off and on in your house. Ain't nothing going to happen. Because the generator's gone. Satan generates it. So when I destroy him, there ain't nothing there.
Does that mean, like, when I'm understanding the reaction, like, I move my hand and the atoms react, or the...
But that's not negative.
Oh.
That's not negative.
That's a reaction to the motion.
That's just a reaction to the motion. And the reaction could be a very good action.
Sir?
The reaction could be a very good reaction. It could be a very good action.
Yes, sir.
You know, if I was to smack you, and you say, oh my God, why do you do that? But it straighten you up. The reaction is that you straighten up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Father.
Now, that, as far as that reaction thing, when it comes against us, what I read about in the fall of America, the people that has opposed Allah and what He's doing, and His aim and His purpose, that is the reaction that is negative. If Allah is doing something that's positive, which He always do, you don't react to it in a way where to cancel it out, even in your own thinking. If you react to it in a way where, how can you improve this for your own well-being? That's a reaction that's very good for you. That's still positive. If you're going to react in a manner where I'm going to bring this to an end, I'm going to stop this, then that's a negative reaction. And that's what's going to stop. When I remove, if you're so in love with light, especially after it has entered into your thinking in your mind, in your head, if you're really in love with light, you will never have no darkness. Although you may stand in the darkness, you will turn that into light. Remember, before there was light, Allah existed. And all of the planets, all matter rotated around Him. He wasn't from no magnetic force or some force from the sun. Remember, the sun came after. However, He was in love with light. Inside the planet is not dark. Every planet is beautiful colors in it, beautiful light. Because that's where God resided. However, out into space itself, by happenstance, He brought about light. And because of it, the other wise people that were on the outside or that came in and out of the planets decided that they were going to imitate this Allah. And they made other light. So much so you can't see out of the canopy of light now. But Allah only made one light. The sun. The wise people made all the stars. Did you know that? Most people think Allah made all the stars. He named them all. And He knows how many it is. He does know how many it is. He didn't name them as far as Him naming them. The wise people that had the knowledge used what He uses and they named them. He accepted the name. But out of all the light that has been produced, there is no light greater than this light that the God made. It don't do what this light does. Did you know that? Yes, sir. You like to reach for things, huh?
Father, it was taught to us in the formulas of mathematics, mathematical thinking, to consider what exists, and in our consideration to consider the priority. And what I would like to know is, how do one go about teaching a person how to reason or how to consider? Because I come across a lot of scenarios where a person can't consider or is unable to consider what is the priority.
All right. The first thing, let's put it this way. Are you all listening?
Yes, sir.
The first law of nature is what? Self-preservation. That's the first law. First law. You come home to your home and it's on fire. And you can hear your babies screaming because they're being burned up. However, the fire has consumed the house so much so that you can't get within 100 yards of it. It's so hot. What are you going to do? Are you going to try to go through it to get the baby that's screaming? Or are you going to back up and say it's in the hands of Allah? What are you going to do? That's priority, isn't it? That may have been drastic example, but that's the principle of it. If you got to pick somebody up, and you know how many seats you got in the vehicle, how far you got to go, you got to consider these things. How much gas you got? Then if you don't have but so much money and so much gas, and you can't get everybody because you don't have the gas to get it with, then you have to consider, well, I do have enough to pick up so-and-so and so. So that's what I'll do. You don't say, well, I ain't going to pick up nobody because I can't make it all the whole round. So the priority is use what you got to do as much as you can of what the assignment is, what you're to do. In other words, you consider what exists. I consider that the black man is dead. So now I got to show myself in several different forms. The last and greatest form that I showed myself in is the person of Master Farad Muhammad, for the express purpose of raising up one with a strong will to make sure his people receive freedom, justice, and equality, as nature predicts it. So I raise up Elijah, which is predicted in the book. This is priority. He was born and we named him Elijah. We caused circumstances for him to get to Detroit, to the heart of hell. The priority is to wake the black man up. However, I'm considering what exists. They're dead. Now, what does exist in the death of them? Is there one that's got a spark of life? Is it just one? I found it. Now, ultimately, I'm to do this myself. However, I got to consider what exists. I cannot come with them as I am because I would burn them up. I would defeat my own purpose. So I got to raise one from amongst them that's dead. Put the fire in him. Let it blend with his nature. And stand him up and represent me and talk about me. I'm considering what exists. However, the ultimate purpose is for me to come and change you in the twinkling of an eye. But I got to send somebody before me to make a way for me. So I'm considering what exists. And I'm using my priorities. I'm God, but I got to send somebody before me. I could come myself and suffer the pain, but I'm not to do that. Let the woman do it. And then when she has delivered it, this baby, in fainting in pain, then I will come and give comfort to her. And then I will deal with the child. That's considering what exists and my priorities. Is that an example well enough? Is it good enough? Well, this is happening as we speak. It's happening. This ain't no fairy tale. You know, I was listening to Brother Muqtadir explain what he encountered. Most of the time when you're speaking with another person, especially if you can think, it makes you exercise the theater of your mind. You know, he was giving descriptions of what he did, even how he poised himself and whatnot, and how he carried the book. Well, if he told me on the phone, I would really have to picture it in my mind. Right? It's the same thing with you and what you're doing. Regardless of what you're doing, what situation you find yourself in, if you find yourself in it, you didn't make it. And if you made it and find yourself in it, then you weren't mastering what you made. So now you find yourself in a predicament. You got to sit still for a moment and exercise the theatrical part of your thinking, like you do when you play chess. And put all the right pieces in the right place, because everything that you're using is right. And then wait on the unseen if you are unable to do it right then. And I guarantee you it'll work. Now, if this is, we call it, he was talking about priorities, and it's no more than mathematical thinking. That's all. You know how white folks is. They make a whole lot of different sayings that mean the same thing. We say one thing and that's it. Saves time. If you got that, you got it. If you can think mathematical, you don't need nobody to tell you nothing. You don't. You really don't. The math will tell you. Especially if you know what exists and you know what the priorities are. That's all you need. that it? Or you got another?
One more.
This is
I would like to know the purpose for clay.
clay.
Yes, sir.
Clay is a material that is used to express what you say. Let me put it this way. Newspaper, you got to make that, right? That's something that man has put up. He made it, and he put his prints on it so you can read what's being said. But man made that, right? Man don't make clay. You can make it, but there's a natural clay. And you can shape it any way you want it to be shaped and make it take on a hard state to stay just like that. And it will emanate what you would want to say. It expresses an idea. What made you ask that?
Well, we was myself and Brother Supreme was traveling back from Atlanta. Through certain parts we was going through, I seen a whole lot of clay. Mountains had a lot of red clay on it, all over the ground. So I was thinking of what was the purpose for it.
Well, you can build homes with it. However, it will express what you would say, even after you're gone. They have these archaeologists, or whatever you call them, dig these things up, find these clay pieces, and they read a lot into them. They can tell you what civilization was there, what they did, how they worshipped, just from reading the clay. Okay? You my grandson?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Yes, sir. That's it? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir, Father. I just wanted to thank you, not just, however, I wanted to thank you for your presence today and share that I'm happy to see you, and to also share that I was impressed with what you shared today with us when you shared that we should always remember we are never alone.
That's right.
Never alone. And I like to say I bear witness to that because earlier this week, as you know, with your help, I'm striving to manage the diner, our diner here. And one day this week, it was a trying situation I had. And I came home and I shared with my husband. He helped me out a lot to understand how to see myself and also deal with scenarios that were taking place. And it brought some peace to my mind. However, I didn't share it with him, but I turned to him. I said, I have to call up Father. I need to talk to Father. And just saying that, a couple of days later, the very next day, you just suddenly appeared. I didn't know I was in the diner. And the sister came to the back and said, Miss White is out and Father's out. I said, oh, Father's here? I said, wow, he just must have heard me. So I can say I truly bear witness that we are never alone. And if I may, I don't want to be long, I would just like to share an experience to also bear witness that we were never alone. My husband and I experienced on the way here to heaven.
Have you all heard this? Want to hear it? Go for it.
Thank you. Yes, sir. To bear witness that we are never alone. I was been blessed to come here to heaven. My husband had the opportunity to also leave to bring me back. We both rode back, and on our way, about 3 hours into our trip from Fort Washington, Maryland, here to heaven, something happened. Our car just stopped. It gave way on us. And all of a sudden, we were about 2 or 3 inches right away from, we had pulled over to the edge, right over to,
edge of the road?
Yes, sir. And we were like, what are we going to do? So we got out the car. My husband got out the car, and he put his hand up, and I was like, why are you going to put your hand up? Nobody's going to stop hitchhikers at this day and time. He was putting his hand up. But he did it 3 times, and all of a sudden I looked down the road. There was a car that had stopped for us. And my husband said, I shared with my husband, I said, someone had stopped. And the the people who had stopped in the car, they started backing down the road to offer us some assistance. However, first they shared they only had room enough for one. However, we just went on, and as we approached the car, the man in the car, he got out. He was with his wife. He got out of the car and allowed us to get in the car, and he took us to a place where we could make a telephone call. So I called the tow truck company so somebody to come pick us up. However, it was like in a place where it was a hick town area. It was in where we went, a place called Hancock, Maryland, and we didn't see anybody that looked like us. It was just, really an uncomfortable situation. And by the way, also the people who had provided assistance, they happened to be two Caucasians. It was a husband and a wife, and they asked us if we were comfortable because they knew that it was like a hick town area. So my husband and I, we just looked at each other, and they said, well, we can take you all closer into town where you could go to a hotel and make a call. So we took them up on the offer, and they took us on about 3 miles on into town, and they took us to a hotel. We went inside, and we asked the receptionist at the desk if we could just make a call. And immediately she just gave us a key to a room and said, well, you all can go into this room and just, make your call as long as you don't make any long distance calls. So we said, thank you. We went in the room and we just took our time and we made the phone calls. We called to Father's house. We knew we were going to get, we made a collect call so that we could get the 800 number to call and share our situation. And after that, we called for the tow truck. And when the tow truck arrived, the person that was driving the truck, he also offered us assistance. He offered to take us back to our car, which he didn't have to do. He was only supposed to go get our car and tow it to the nearest repair station. However, he also offered to take us and then take us to a hotel as well. So he took us back to the car, and then he took us to a hotel. So we went to the hotel. I'm trying to make this brief. However, the idea is that we never experienced any kind of situation where we were alone for 1 minute. We were always protected. It's like Father just immediately sent the angels. As soon as our car broke down, we were out for about no more than about 5 minutes, and someone stopped for us. And we were way out on a highway, and it was really, it was like a frightening experience. And then, like I said, the driver of the tow truck, he was Caucasian as well, but he was like, he just didn't want to leave us alone. He said, well, I can take you all wherever you want to go. He took us up and down the highway. He took us to a couple of hotels to see which one was less expensive. And he also, after he took our car to the repair station, he offered to bring us our key back so that we could get some of our things, because we had I had all of my clothes in there that I was taking with me to bring back here to heaven. Then the finale of this all was, after we got situated in the hotel, we finally made another call and, shared the status of where we were with the nation. And then the next morning, we received a telephone call from Secretary Zena, and she shared that Father would be there to pick us up at 7 o'clock. And my husband and I, we looked at each other again. It was like the entire time, what appeared to seem like it was a difficult time, but it was just a wonderful time, because it's like we were never alone for 1 minute. Father was always in everything. And like I said, and for him coming himself, and when 7 o'clock came, Father was calling up, and he was there. And my husband and I, we looked again. Father's here by himself. He came alone by himself. By himself. And I was just so happy, because he had, what do you call it, Father? The attachment, because our car had broke down, and what do you call it?
Tow dolly.
A tow dolly. And I was like, oh, Father's got a tow dolly. And then after he put this, hooked the car up, I was just watching how Father was working. For every minute he was in motion, constantly moving. And also on the way to get us back home, Father was getting out the car like every so often. He was getting out the car checking. I was like, oh, Father's checking. I was just watching him. My husband got out there. I said, just look. I was just impressed with what Father says, what he's sharing with us. I saw him in motion doing the same thing, constantly checking. And what also impressed me was something he shared was, well, I came myself because I wouldn't want to trust any other brothers. I wanted to make sure we get this on right, because if it wasn't done right, the car would fall off. You know, it would have came off, right? Fallen off.
That's right. That's right.
The idea of what I'm sharing, or what I like to express, is how Father is truly Allah, and He will never leave you alone 1 minute. We were never alone. That's the idea that I wanted to express.
Thank you. Well, what she experienced really happened. You know, they could, if you want, if you have more time, they could really go into some things, what they were telling me. I recalled them to see. And then when they got out here, I let them take my car and come on out here and make sure I fixed theirs. Then I came and got my car back. Yes, you was going to me?
Yes, sir. How can a person be themselves, or what's the way that they have to go about being themselves or expressing humbleness or humanness?
With the spirit, with my spirit, what gets everybody in trouble? You all put so much force as though you're going to make something happen. How to make things happen is just be happy. If you can get with a liar, if he's joyful and happy, good about he's lying. But you just happy. You just don't do nothing he say. So if you're going to, instead of being forced with, a lot of us want to show our power by telling somebody what to do. And you lose. If you're going to tell them, you got to tell them in a way. I have a lot of humor about what I do, because I don't see nothing as a threat. When I came up and I seen Brother Ronald, they called whatnot and told me about the situation, I said, well, I'll go up myself and get them. And I had to go take somebody up to a TV program that night, about 5 hours away. So I had to really dash. And on the way there, accident. On the way back was a great big accident. They closed the highway down on one side. But Satan wanted it to be on our side to make sure we didn't make it back. But the way I carry myself and everything, if you all do the same thing, you will have no trouble with any of you all. I go by math. If the math said there was nobody there in headquarters to go and get them and do it properly. The king wasn't there. Mason wasn't there. The brothers that were there didn't do that type of operation. So I put my hat on, took on off. Went on up there and got them, came on back. Told them, look, take this card, go. I'll have this one fixed. Send it out to you or I'll bring it out. That's what I did. So they was overjoyed. And I was too. Because I knew they were going to make it. But the Spirit heals everything. It takes care of everything. When you start to come when you exercise your power like this better be, and I'm not taking nothing less than that, you better have some power. Because you might get challenged. Very few people challenge me. In life, I'm not talking about you see Louis people come up, and I think did y'all see the instructions they were taught to do? So they were still operating on what they was taught to do. Their nature is not that. It's not that. So that's what you do. If you be yourself, just be yourself in a joyful manner. Even if you're wrong, it can be tolerated. If the wrong isn't too severe. Because that's him. However, you still be submissive to truth, to math. You don't just be wrong and have a good spirit and just continue to be wrong. I'm not saying that. But that's what makes a person acceptable. Okay? And when it reads, black man, be yourself, it don't mean that you be God, that stern. It don't mean that. And you can see that from the Nation of Islam. It don't mean that. Everywhere we go, just like Jamal told me, he went into the barber shop to get the dinner orders. They thought he was the Nation of Islam. They wouldn't even look up. Real cold. And he said, well, darn. Then he had to speak up. I did not say it's the nation. I will the United Nation of Islam. And then that's when the brother asked him, well, what's the difference? But he was with the nation. But Jamal put on his little charm before he left. Everybody was agreeing and ordered dinners. You see? So that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And when you do it that way, I'm with you. I'm with you. You know, the cop stopped me. I'm riding down the street. I seen the sign, no trucks. I said, well, look, I'm in a hurry. I don't know the other way. I'm gone. I'm riding. I look in the mirror, lights flashing and everything. Oh, whoop, he got me. He come walking up with this mean looking look on his face, black man. Short, be short to be a policeman. Real stocky and whatnot. He came up. Didn't you see the sign back there? Yes, sir, officer. I leaped out the truck, man, standing in front of him. I said, yes, sir, I saw. I was in a hurry. I just moved here. I'm from Maryland. I really don't know the streets or whatever. And however, I am wrong. He looked at me. Well, go ahead and don't come down here no more. But if I got a, what's the problem, officer? Hey, I got a ticket. Because now I'm playing dumb. What's the problem? The sign right back there says no truck. So if you try, I'm telling you, we're coming out of hell. We're in hell, and they got a whole lot of laws to make sure hell stays hell. You can get around it. 90% of it just from your spirit. If it's right, you can get around it. As much as some of you all in here don't like other ones, you like me. Why? Because you don't see me that much? Is that it? Yes, sir. I must say concerning you, I'm pretty pleased with you. As far as your spirit and whatnot. You know, and I'm not saying, well, I'm leaving anybody else. I'm just speaking with him now. There's quite a few of y'all I'm really pleased with. Your dedication to what you're doing. You're always there. You're always doing. Even though I hear about the baker. You know, I think he went out and got some things for the house and everything. You know, it's like he's always there. You don't see him that much, but he's there. And believe me, I'm not forgetting this. It's like, say, make your record. It's being made. It's being made. It's like, it's gotten to a time now, it's almost like you all don't work on time no more. And you're like, well, I got to be there today, and I want to hurry up and get off. I come in now. When I came in, I said, it was a whole different feel on this whole city. And it felt like you all. I rode by and looked at the house and everything, looked at y'all, and I said, man, this is good. I think I'll go out with my wife to the diner. You know, I felt good. It's because you continue to do what you were doing, and it appears as though you're learning. Now some people are going to be coming in to relieve you of what you are doing so you can do things that will even make you happier. You know, you're going to take the next step. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm very pleased to be in that position, Father. Yes, sir.
All right.
Like, Father?
Walaikum salam.
Yes, sir. I wanted to know, how do a man with not enough knowledge as yourself, how would he go about getting knowledge to question you to receive more knowledge?
Any question that anyone has to ask me, it has to be from their own inquisitiveness, their own nature. It has to be what's in your mind. It's not where you got to go study. So when you do confront me, that you ask me a question. A lot of times I like to listen. You don't have to ask me nothing, just tell me something. I listen. Now, if it's something that you really want to know, just ask it. However, you don't have to gain knowledge to find out what you should ask to gain more knowledge. That's not the way it's done. You ask for a certain period of time until you learn the formula, like a child. You know, children ask questions, and after a while, they keep growing, and less questions are asked. Then you start ask them, oh, wait a minute, what time did you get home last night? Now they're thinking they know everything. So they ain't asking you, now you got to ask them. Well, why didn't you put gas in my car? You know, why didn't you answer your mother? You asking them. Before they asking you, Daddy, can I sit in your lap and drive? Can I have this candy? They ask and ask and ask. And once they learn, the questions stop. Same thing with you or anyone else. If you have a question that is on your mind that you want to ask me. Now, if you don't have a question, you still won't be in my presence, fine. That's fine too. You don't have to ask me nothing. Just be in my presence. You talk to me like you talk to your father or one of the brothers. As long as you don't cuss him out and you don't cuss me out, we get along. You know, if you're doing something, you can talk about what you do. I'll talk about what I do. You talk about what you want to do. I talk about what I want to do. Then we just sit up and don't say nothing. You know?
Yes, sir. I have one more question. I was listening to a radio station, and they was talking about the year 2000 and whatnot, how the computers are going to shut down, and they're sharing that they're going to bring in a new computer called the Beast when the old computer goes out, because they have a solution for the new computer. However, they don't want the solution. They want to bring in this computer called the Beast. So when they bring in this new computer, it's going to produce chips. Talking about the chips that go in the back of your hand or your forehead, and then when a person gets these chips from 8 to 12 months, when the chip is in you, your skin's going to start to boil up. So they were sharing about that's going to be one of the plagues that was talking about in the Bible, where the fourth horseman was green, or the fourth horse was green. I want to also know about how true that is, and what are the four horsemen?
Well, what you first said about the chip and whatnot, that's not true, not from us. I mean, white people might do some of their people like that, and Negroes that still want to be with them, they may do it to them. But that's not the way it is to be done. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
The knowledge of this world has ran out. They can't come up with something that's going to go against what we it may look like this little group here, just small or whatnot. They can't do nothing with this. When you say they, we're talking about the enemy. They can't do nothing with this. They might tell you what's going to happen to make you think that they still the God and they still going to be in charge. They've lost their power. Period. And as far as the four horsemen is concerned, that's another expression that is used, what they put in the Bible, whatnot, to show the different phases or the different levels of expression that God's going to use, or stand in as far as the black man, brown man, yellow man, and red man. White man's not included. And I think it said something about when the white people on the mother plane speaking too fast. They're not.
So these chips don't exist?
The chip?
Yes, sir.
Not for us, no, sir. I'm not going to say white folks have not invented a chip. However, what good would it do to invent a chip, to place it in you, and then have your skin boil 1 year later?
That's what the devil's going to do. That's what he's sharing that the government's bringing in.
But that don't make sense. In other words, they wouldn't do. They may have the capability of that, but it wouldn't be to their advantage to actually do it.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And plus, this is our time. This is why this is new. This is our time. You're with us. They show you all this fantastic fantasy, whatnot. Forget that. They do what we let them do. And what we let them do, we have already let them do things. Now we're stopping them. We're showing now that the Pope ain't no good. The president of this wicked country is no good. Now tomorrow he's going to come out and say, well, yes, he did have a sexual relationship. He first told us he didn't. So it's letting everybody know that's got any sense about them at all. Where are you looking for to be led? Who are you looking to lead you? Who are you looking for to tell the truth? Is it any such person? Then you, or all those stand up. I tell the truth because Father has taught you. Forget him. Forget him. We got some chips that he don't have no idea of. Hey, really? Remember what I just read and read it yourself. Scientists on the ship that can tell what you're thinking before the thought gets to you. Before it materializes, they stop it. And they can do it with anyone except me. They can do it with the messenger. You or anybody else. Lewis. The only person they can't stop is mine. So how you going to attack the black man coming up with something like that? Like I said, I'm not saying he don't have it, but don't worry about it, because it won't be used on us.
Yes, sir.
You see?
Yes, sir.
Woo, one day I'm going to get into it. Black man, you something, man. You really something. You gave rise to your own opposition and then come back and kill it. That's powerful, man. That's powerful. We're waiting for the we're waiting now for the 144,000 to come alive. Looks like Brother Abbas Rasul has started that. That's in keeping with what exists in the priorities, since he was the one that was told and instructed to tell us what must be done after the coming of God. So he's in the Bible style as Zadok the priest. Is it Zadok? Nathan the prophet. One of them. So he can prophesy because he got the knowledge of both. So if he come alive, the rest of y'all ain't got no reason to stay dead. That's a cold that's going to come up, and if you're anywhere close to him, you got to start taking on that heat. Got to. And the youth will finish the rest of it. We'll start the fire and give heat to the rest of the world. Just get us going. Yes, sir, grandson. Well, let's reach them.
Yes, sir, Father. The brothers went to the park today. We had PT this morning. Brothers usually get together on Saturday or Sundays. And one thing I've noticed with being with the brothers is I see how they interact with one another and then how they interact with myself. And it gives the impression that our relationship is not as real as it should be. Because I can see a lot of brothers share certain things with one another. It can be the exact same thing that I say. They submit to it when I say it because of me being your grandson or me being over the brothers or responsible for the brothers. And then another brother can share it and it be the exact same thing and give them a whole lot of friction. So I'm looking for a way to assist the brothers in actually being brothers with one another, and also that our relationship change and they do it because it's right or it's mathematical, it makes sense, not because of the person. So I would like to have some assistance with them present so that they can see why it's necessary that we be brothers. Why that's even necessary.
Well, the pleasure of truth will make them change. Our dedication and our will for them to change won't get it. We can bring death to them quick, but you cannot bring life quick. Life is something that has to grow. Death you can bring in an instant. But you keep pursuing life the way it should be, and you keep expressing what they should be doing. One day they're going to get it. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Okay?
Everyone heard it? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Now, I didn't say keep going to the park.
Yes, sir.
However, since y'all are going doing that, whatnot, it's much better than the way it was being done before. So, I kind of, like I said, I see y'all have really grown. Really grown. Is that it? Before I leave, I may give a class here, like I do at home, on the spiritual, on what the messenger is taught, and different things that we're into, so that we can still see ourselves and have the proper respect for our parents, meaning the ones that is a part of the 144,000 that came with the messenger. We have the proper respect for them, and they have it for us. There ain't no stopping us. There ain't no stopping us. And believe me, like I'm saying, you are never, never alone. You're never alone. They want to show you love the same as I want to show you love. And they have the power to actually do it. I have the power also, but since I'm in this body the way I am, a lot of times I just listen to what you say. And I go by what you say, not by what it really is, just for you to see something. So when you tell me something, it will be exactly that. You tell me what you mean and mean what you tell me. So if you tell me a lie and I act on it, you're in trouble. If you tell me the truth and I act on it, you got a blessing. Is that clear? Yes. Is that it? Well, I'm going to say this. Brother Abbas is going to be going around the country representing us, myself and you all, in the very, very, very near future to the different temples and whatnot. And I'm quite sure he's going to be successful. He's going to also be negotiating certain properties for us that he's already got into motion. And it looks like we're going to have to really make that hotel a reality, because everybody at headquarters is going telling everybody. So if we fail, boy, we're going to look like... So we got to make sure that these things take place. And believe me, all of these things is an opportunity for you to express your Godhood. That's all. That's all. All the other planets don't have no hotels. You don't see no automobiles, no trucks running across this surface. So we got to come from complete idiocy back into intelligence. So we're taking our time strolling on through it. All right? Assalamu alaikum.